put myself out there because when I'm in the car, I don't have my handy dandy laptop and all of the screenshot protections I can normally refer to catch people when they're lying. So today I'm gonna be at the mercy of my actual memory because people are gonna be challenging me with shit. So I'll get that out the way before people start actually coming into the program. We're talking about trans and birthright bans. So give me a minute or so to get the YouTube horizontal horizontal going, and we'll make it happen. So another couple minutes here, we should be able to start the party out right. Yes, we want to go live together. What the hell am I doing here? You know, I tell you. Okay, we want to make sure it's in horizontal format. It's not letting me do it. Go live together. Streams are vertical only. Oh, hang on a second. What the hell did I just do? All right, there we go. So, all right. I always got to get used to getting all these things up to going. And good evening, or after, it's afternoon still. It's not quite evening yet. So, good afternoon. Not quite evening to all you folks that are gonna tune into this bullshit while we talk about these new executive orders coming from Trump. Ain't no joke. We're talking about birthright citizenship, and we're going to be talking about trans in the military. Wow, they're banning transgender from being in the military. I'm curious to see where your opinions are on that, but if I can give me a moment to get my damn last phone locked in, and I don't do enough car lives. That's what it is. I don't do enough of these damn things, so my equipment is not ready to go. We got about 30 seconds, and I should be able to make this happen. In fact, maybe less than that if the app. Oh shit. Okay, what did I just do? God damn it. I had it ready to go, and I screwed up and dropped the live. Okay, there we go. We want horizontal. Trans ban. What do you guys think? You think, I see in the comments, Cheeky Chop says, bang, 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 bang. Be careful in YouTube talking about this. The trans ban. Now, this is something it's an executive order coming from Trump today. Trans ban in the military and birthright. I just want to make sure I type this in right. I had it ready to go, and then the whole device here just reset. So, go ahead and make sure people can actually respond. Select audience not for kids. Of course, that's got to be put in here, and I'll do the quick hashtags, and we should be able to start partying. Let me see here. Go live, and let's see if it brings everything up right here. Okay, yep. So we're going live in just a few seconds here when I can get this last one. I haven't done the car lives in so long. I don't have my damn equipment right. Okay, so we're going live. What about taking money from our veterans? Who's taking money from our veterans? What do you mean by that? What about taking money from the veterans? Who's doing that? I haven't heard anything about money being taken from veterans. So let me know. I'm assuming you're talking about Trump in some way, fashion, or form. All right, so we are live now. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy, Tim, the handsome liberal. The whole presentation sucked, so I didn't get to start the program off the way I want to normally do it, but we're live on 3 platforms today, YouTube, horizontal, vertical, and TikTok. We're not going to be on Instagram today, simply because I don't have enough room on the dashboard for all of the devices aimed at me at the same time, but we're going to make these 3 work. Topics of discussion, and there goes my YouTube. I just don't have the equipment. My equipment is not working today for some damn reason. Let's try it again. Okay, so topics of the day we're going to discuss, and bear with me if you're on YouTube horizontal, because my equipment is not going to do it. I'm wondering, do we have an issue with the transgender community? I mean, I dare to use the phrase hatred, but I'm confused. We got 3 topics today. This is number 1. Trump is expected today to have a executive order banning transgender from serving in the military. So I guess that's all branches of the military. Post-op, pre-op. So it doesn't matter where you are along the journey. If you're transgender, you cannot serve. I'd like to hear right off the bat, how do you favor that? Do you think that's a good idea? Now, one of the things I will say right off the bat is that if America is under attack and a transgender person wants to pick up a rifle and defend this great nation, should we block them from doing that simply because of their sexuality? I don't know. I want to hear from you folks. Is that something, do you believe we should ban someone from doing their patriotic duty of defending this great nation just simply because they're trans? I mean, if you're in the foxhole fighting for your life, hoping the enemy doesn't, come down on your position, and some person that was born a man or born a woman and changed their gender now wants to help you, would you stop that? Would you actually tell the transgender person, no, don't come help me out because you were born a woman or born? I mean, would that matter if your life was in danger? Would that matter at all? Because to me, that just seems, I don't know, that just seems a bit extreme. Now, in addition to this, President Trump is also going to grant reinstatement in the military and back pay. This is for folks who were maybe kicked out of the military because they refused to get the jab. You know what I'm talking about, COVID-19, the vaccine. They refused to get it, and maybe they had to, resign, or they lost their job in the military. He's going to reinstate those folks, plus give them back pay, which could be a few years. Now, I see in the comments, folks are favoring that. They're saying good. Fair enough. But I want to ask you this. If the liberals banned unvaccinated military personnel and somebody on the right comes along and reinstates them plus back pay, Trump is banning the transgender from serving in the military. What are the chances that a liberal in the future could come along, reinstate transgender, and give them back pay? Is that not exactly what he's doing? Where you may have a liberal pop up in the future and suggest it was wrong for what Trump did. If you are trans and you were banned in 2025, you can now re-enlist and we'll give you back pay. Is he not opening the door for that? We'll talk about that, obviously. But like I said, in regards to the foxhole scenario, if your life was on the line, would you deny assistance? Let's say, for instance, you've called for air support, and the only thing in the region is a transgender pilot of an A-10. Would you deny that air support because the pilot's transgender? You're being held hostage, and someone wants to come save you, and all of a sudden it's a transgender regiment. Would you turn them around because their sexuality doesn't fit right? I don't understand. Your patriotic duty should be to defend this great nation against enemies foreign and domestic. Does your sexuality cause you to lose the right to do so? I don't know. That just seems questionable to me. I mean, a lot of Americans that are straight, that have never thought about being any part of the LGBT community at all, LGBTQIA to get the alphabet right, a lot of Americans would never consider putting their lives on the line and picking up a rifle to defend this country. But here you have one, but you don't like his sexuality, so you're going to turn him down. Keep in mind, President Trump right now is stating that what's happening at the southern border is an invasion. So he's literally, based on his own language, kicking people out of the military at the same time while we're being invaded. Make that make sense. You're kicking people to tap the screen, get the likes up. I'm vulnerable today because I don't have my laptop. I don't have my screen behind me. I can't prove people wrong. I'm going to get my ass kicked today. I get it. But I'm asking for you to tap the screen, get the likes up. 10,000 or so. You know we're MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor. So help out the program by tapping the screen, smash that like button on YouTube as well. Next, why are Democrats against the deportation of criminals? I get that you may feel that the right is a bit too harsh, calling everybody a rapist or a murderer. You know, I'm trying not to use the language. I don't want to trigger the censors, but damn it, it's hard not to talk normal. But we know what Trump thinks of immigrants. They're all criminal. They're all felons. They're all here to hurt people. So I get why the Democrats are pushing back against that. But what about people, even in sanctuary cities, that the local government has determined to be a criminal, maybe a felon, and they're already holding them in some sort of jail or prison facility? Why would they be against allowing immigration to go into the facility and process that person for deportation? If you believe the individual is so awful that you're going to put him in jail or in prison, why would you stop immigration from deporting them out of the country? I'm curious because that doesn't make sense in my opinion. Why would you want to let someone out that has no legal documentation or right to be in America, showed no respect for the country, already committing crime? Why would you want to let them out back into society? Have the Democrats lost their mind on that? We'll talk about that as well. And by the way, I'm sure many of you folks have seen the immigrants lined up to get on a cargo plane. They've had several flights go down to, South American countries. Colombia, I believe, is one. Guatemala is another one. They're flying them down there. You've seen the photographic evidence of them sending immigrants out. Here's something that kind of leaves me baffled before we start taking calls. If all of these folks are violent felons, why is the Trump administration not telling us what all of these folks did? Might it help out securing their statement that these people are here to hurt people? These folks, I'm going to be honest with you, maybe you see differently, but seeing these folks lined up in chains to get on the cargo aircraft, in my humble opinion, they look like field workers. They look like the guy that would be in the kitchen busting, doing the dishes. They don't look like what Trump is calling them. And they're not telling us they are. Notice you haven't heard Trump say that on this flight, we got 20 people that took the sexual innocence of children. In the back row is nothing but murderers. They're not telling you that. So it looks like they may be above and beyond just simply sending folks out that are criminals. They're not swearing, they're not snapping, they're not going off. They look like they've committed to being deported. To me, they don't look like what he's saying. In the comments, I see in the comments, it's a good pushback. Byron, what does it say? Byron, I don't see the light. He says, what did Jeffrey Dahmer look like? Okay, I like that. I'll give you the win on that. Sometimes you don't always know. And last but not least, birthright citizenship. We're going to talk about that. And I'll tie this into what I just stated about who looks like what or whatever. If we're here to get rid of criminals that are here to hurt everybody, is there a huge issue with people being born in America, growing up and, graping and murdering everybody? Birthright citizenship doesn't sound like it falls in line with this whole invasion we're dealing with. If the goal is to get rid of people here that are trying to harm folks, why is birthright citizenship on the table? This kid was born in America, but he doesn't have the documentation. And you're talking about getting rid of that. That don't sound like rapists and murderers to come up with the new language. That sounds like something else. So we're going to talk about all three of these topics. As always, you know how we say we're MAGA friendly. Always has been, always will be. We don't block, ban, or censor. You can be critical of anybody in the comment section, including yours truly. You can be critical of the host. We go left of Bernie Sanders, so I'm having dinner with Q. So everybody gets to speak. That's how the program works. We don't have an issue with whatever your politics are. So you'll hear folks from all sides of the aisle. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, feel free to smash that like button for my YouTubers. Follow the program on TikTok. So looking in the comments, you don't need to know what they did. They're here illegally. That's enough, says Dre. Well, I don't totally disagree with that. My question is with the language. If the goal is to get rid of folks that are here undocumented, folks that are here illegally, just say that. Why is all of this grapists and schmurderers coming up? Just say what you really want to do. And that is, I want to get rid of everybody that doesn't have a legal right to be here. Why paint them all as committing extra violent felonies? Just come out and be honest about what you want to do. I believe, and I'll go to the box right now, but I believe that's one reason why the liberals are putting up so much resistance to letting immigration go into prisons and get people out. Because Trump's borders are saying, why would you let us do that? Why would you let us go get the bad people? I believe it's because the Democrats know that's step one. Step two is getting rid of birthright citizenship or even getting rid of grandma. That's step three, getting rid of just regular, everyday average folks you might have been friends with that just happen to be here undocumented. And they're not telling you that their goal is to get rid of step 2 and 3. They're focusing on step 1, which everybody would agree with, which are criminals. The Democrats are resisting because they know the quicker you help them succeed at step 1, the faster they can go to step 2 and 3, which the Democrats do not agree with. So they have to. You ever heard of the Second Amendment folks tell you, I'm not in favor of any sort of gun ban, because any law against guns is a stepping stone towards total confiscation. So you resist everything, no matter even if it's common sense, because you believe the end goal was to take away all guns. I think that's the mindset the Democrats have, is that they're going to resist things that sound like it's common sense because they believe the ultimate goal is to even get rid of the friendly folks. All right, let me go back to the box. And I see the comment. Someone says no one is illegal on stolen land. Fair enough. Supra. Good evening. Welcome to the program. I thought I was about to say Semper Fi there at first, though. Would you rather spend a weekend with Trump at Epstein's Island or a Diddy party with Trump? I'm going to hang out with Trump at Epstein Island because Trump don't get away with anything he do.
I want Kash Patel to get out the list like he says.
Say that again?
I want Kash Patel, the new director of the FBI, to go directly to the vault where the Epstein list is, right there with his report on the Russia collusion, like he said, and bring that shit the fuck out.
I don't trust anything that comes out about the Epstein list, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I bet you fucking don't, dude.
No, I don't.
You got a lot to say today, handsome. You want to talk about the 100 people that got rounded up at the fucking fentanyl-producing thing in Colorado? Those ones that got deported?
I haven't
wanted to know. How about the Haitian guy that had fucking 7 child rape charges in America just walking around in Chicago?
Hold on. Hang on. Real quick. Try not to use the R words. You can say whatever the hell you want other than that. I don't want to trigger the app.
Seven grape offenses. He'd been released in Chicago over 7 times for graping children. He's just walking the fuck around when ICE picked him up.
Wow.
He's in an interview with Dr. Phil. You can look it up. He's standing there with Dr. Phil telling him all about it, bro.
I ain't heard about it. What else you got?
Oh, yeah. How convenient.
Oh, man, I've been working all damn day. I'm not saying you're wrong. I haven't heard about it. What else you got?
Yeah, MS fucking 13 cartel members, Haitian fucking grape gang members.
What about the cat and dog eaters? You get any of them?
For you, dude. Here, I'll just look them up for you since you don't do diligence.
What about the cat and dog eaters? You get any of them? You're on mute. Come on back to the program.
I'm looking up why these people got deported since you won't do any due diligence.
I'm in a fucking car. If I was in my studio, I would do it. I'm not here to
ICE enforcement and removal operations statistics. Let's take a look. Let's see here. U.S. criminal convictions. Starting with top tier criminals on the highest alert list of about 500,000, all guilty of felonies, drug trafficking, rape, homicide, re-entry. These are the people that we're deporting, dude. It's right here on the fucking ICE website. You want to lie?
No, hold on. I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. That to me sounds like a good thing to do. But is birthright citizenship? Are a bunch of them people on that list? What does birthright citizenship got to do with these people?
You're incentivizing people to come here illegally and have children. part of the, you act like you don't know how these anchor babies have been since like the 80s, dude.
I know how anchor babies work.
Why do they show up 7 months pregnant, dude? Why?
I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying if a woman comes to America with an anchor baby and gives birth, why are we suggesting that person who has no right to be here is violent?
Nobody ever said that. They're just here illegally. You're trying to like put two things together.
Well,
like,
he first made it sound like we were getting rid of rapists and murderers, not babies. Now you're talking about babies.
Yeah, no, dude, he's always said we need to de-incentivize birthright citizenship, dude. He's been saying that shit since he was fucking president last time, dude. Stop fucking lying.
No, I heard he wanted to.
You're a liar today, dude. I've caught you to sit here and like, are you a federal agent? Are you a Marxist propagandist?
No, I'm a.
You make me wonder sometimes. I just want you to be clear. You're not working for the federal government to push like far left Marxist propaganda, are you? For the record,
I'm sitting in the fucking car. What do you think?
Is that a yes or no answer?
That's a fucking no. And I would tell you
cool,
if I was.
Because that roundabout answer made me start to think you were a Fed.
What answer did I give you that was roundabout?
It wasn't a yes or no. Do you work for any federal agency?
No. What else you got?
Cool. Sometimes you sound like you're just pushing a bunch of globalist fucking propaganda.
Okay, well, no, sometimes that sounds like I'm pushing a bunch of shit you don't agree with. That's all it is. And
Marxist garbage.
Right,
everything. Marxist garbage. I don't agree with that.
That's exactly the point. Anything you don't agree with is Marxist garbage. I agree with you. Yeah,
not everything. I don't know. I disagree with lots of things that aren't Marxist garbage, sir.
Yeah,
Marxist garbage is becoming domestic terrorism in my fucking country. And when people like you get online and fucking espouse that shit, you make people go shoot up Christian churches. Wow. You make people fucking say things like all MAGA are Nazis, dude. And then you sit here and you fucking smile.
Well, you're kind of making me smile now, but
Yeah, it's real fucking funny.
Okay, do you believe what happened on January 6th was an act of terror?
No, we're going to have a second January 6th commission to prove that you Democrats staged that fucking shit.
We staged it?
Yeah, what crimes did the January 6th committee commit that they needed to be pardoned?
Well, if I'm correct, a few officers...
What crimes did they commit?
Beating up police officers?
No, what crimes did the January 6th committee, why did they need to be pardoned? Why did Joe Biden pardon the entire January 6th committee and the police force? What crimes did they commit?
Because they were being targeted by Trump.
What crimes did they commit?
They didn't commit any.
Really? So you guys spent 4 years saying if you need a pardon, you're a criminal, but now that the table has turned, you don't have to commit crimes to be pardoned. So you can just be pardoned for not committing crimes. What about Dr. Fauci? What crimes did he commit?
He's a messenger.
What crimes did Dr. Fauci need to be pardoned from, sir?
0.
Interesting. What about Mark Milley?
Milley committed a crime.
Really?
Yeah, I think Milley did something wrong.
Interesting.
What else you got? That's
what I'm asking you, dude. Like, why is Joe Biden pardoning people preemptively? What about his entire family?
But Biden is pardoning people because you guys put a bullseye on their back.
We'll fucking see you guys soon. I'm not even going to listen to you push this Marxist propaganda no more, dude. I'm just going to block you, and you can just be over here in your little echo chamber spreading this fucking weak rhetoric.
I thought we were having a conversation, man. All right, well, apparently that caller, like I said, folks, we don't block, ban, or censor. This is what happens. You're going to get people that disagree with you. He's welcome back, by the way. I see in the comments people saying bye-bye. I didn't get rid of him. He got rid of himself. He thinks I'm a Marxist. He thinks I'm spewing propaganda. And he didn't want to talk, but, he's always welcome back on the program. He seemed a bit hostile. Maybe I'm wrong, but he seemed like he was a bit hostile when he came on the program. What say you? I didn't disagree with everything he said, by the way. He had a laundry list of things he wanted to say, so it didn't make sense at all if I agree with him or not. He wanted to be hostile. He got a chance to do so. When I say we go left of Bernie Sanders from having dinner with Q, we mean that. And he got a chance to spew his opinion. Looking in the comments, and I see in the comments, Guns and Magnolia says, bro, you definitely on Marxist. Can somebody explain to me? Give me, like I said, I'm open to Public Enemy says, I think this caller is smoking crack. Yikes. Welcome to the program, Public Enemy. In regards to the Marxist stuff, can somebody explain to me, like, let me know what I'm quote unquote spewing that equates to Marxism. For my YouTube horizontal audience, my holder is acting really jacked up. So I'm having a hard time on YouTube horizontal delivering the program because my device here is just not sticking to the dash. I haven't been in the car long enough, so my YouTube horizontal, I may have to take it down for now. But continue on with the program. Carla was butthurt, says Art of my. Well, he came in. I think he wanted to talk and really just criticize and wasn't interested in any pushback. So he got a chance to do that and he bowed out. But he's always welcome back. All right, looking in the comments though. I don't think they know what Marxism is. Honestly, they've deflated it to a buzzword. That's what that is my opinion. Because I've heard the left called every IST word except capitalist. Communist, Marxist, socialist, fascist. He came on red. He was on 10 when he came on the program.
Yeah, he was I think he needed a Snickers, man. He was angry. Yeah. He was hangry.
I don't know. I mean, like, let me ask you now, you're MAGA, you lean right. Do I come across as what did he say, Marxist? Am I preaching Marxist propaganda? Let me know. What am I saying?
Nah, I in my opinion, I mean, you say some wild shit sometimes that kind of gets me raising an eyebrow. But, I mean, you hit the best of both worlds. I watched the video this morning when you were kind of questioning your own side.
Yeah, I don't favor the Democrats being against deporting folks that got actual criminal records. I don't favor that. I think that's wrong. I mean, if you got a criminal record to the point where they don't put you in jail, even in a sanctuary city, you deserve to be gone. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, same, man, same. And like I was saying, you question both sides for the most part,
What? So you don't see his claims of Marxism there? I want to make sure I wasn't missing something because he came on. I think he had something to say, and like I said, I gave him a chance to say what he wanted to say, but he wasn't interested in hearing anything other than himself talk.
No, I don't see it.
All right. So what do you think? So let's talk about the actual topics. Now, Trump is banning transgender in the military. Now, I'm assuming you're okay with that, right?
Yes, baby.
So if we know Trump never served. If a transgender person wants to pick up a rifle and defend his nation, you would really deny them that because of their sexuality?
They don't belong in a $20 million piece of equipment. You don't put somebody who's crazy in a tank. You put them on a couch next to a guy with a crisp white jacket pulling his problems out, trying to figure out what kind of therapy they need, so they don't snap. You want to put them in a tank?
So your belief is that all transgender people are crazy?
Yeah. Cray, baby. Cray. Batshit crazy.
Oh, my God. And what evidence you have of that?
Guys that think they're chicks, you're nuts. I don't need evidence. That says it. That speaks for itself. Look, if you grew up, all joking aside, if you've been a man for 40 years of your life, you were in the service, you did this, you did that, and then one day out of nowhere, you throw a dress and some lipstick on and say, "Hey, I'm a woman." Something snapped up here, man. So that rubber band went a little too tight and snapped. That's not sanity.
I don't. So if you needed to be rescued, and a transgender person was coming to rescue you from being taken hostage or something, you would deny that rescue because that person.
Let me burn.
Huh?
Let me burn.
Let you burn. Oh my God.
Let me burn, man.
Is it safe to say you might have somewhat of a hatred toward this community?
No, I've got a fear. I will admit I'm transphobic because they're mentally ill, and I fear the mentally ill, especially when it's not addressed. They sit here and they preach tolerance, but how tolerant is enabling a mental illness? Look, if I'm on a rooftop wearing a cape and I'm saying, "Hey, I'm Superman," is it kind to say, "Yeah, you're Superman, Gabe. Go ahead and jump. You'll be all right. Don't trip"? Or is that cruel? That's not okay, man. That's enabling my mental illness, my sickness. I'm not Superman.
Yeah, but is there any? But do we have any significant documented history in this country of transgender people acting crazy or doing anything wild? They're not harming kids. They're not doing. I mean, why are they getting this horrible label when there's no significant evidence of them doing any of this stuff? Most of them just go to work and live their lives just like everybody else.
A grown man wearing a dress and makeup in the street claiming to be a woman is crazy, Tim. That's not. You don't. That is evidence. I don't know what other evidence you would want.
So let me look at it this way. So you believe that if a man thinks that he's a woman, something's wrong with him mentally?
Yeah. It's called gender dysphoria.
Okay. So then I'm going to ask you, I think I may have asked you this or another caller before. What if a man thinks that he is better than other people simply based on his skin color? Is that person crazy too?
Yeah, he's a bigot.
So, I mean, because you know this country was founded on that. People who were born and they thought simply being born this color makes me better than everybody else. So you're saying this country was founded on a bunch of mentally ill people then?
Yeah, I go with that, sure.
Okay, and we got their photos on the side of Mount Rushmore and everything. We consider them as heroes. So they're mentally ill according to you. Because they think that simply being born this way makes them supreme over everybody else. So I don't see why the transgender people are getting harmed so bad if you say they got mental illness and we're treating this other group like they're like they're heroes.
All right, well, let me ask you this. You got rid of all the mentally ill people that thought they were better because of their skin color. Why do you allow the mentally ill people that want to wear dresses that are men?
So you're saying that I hate to say KKK on the thing, but groups like that, you think that all of those groups, because they still exist. We haven't gotten rid of them. They still exist. So all of them are mentally ill then.
Yeah, I think there's a mental illness. If you think that you're better than another human being because your skin happens to be a different melanin or color, I'd say that's pretty nuts.
Okay, well, them people are not gone. I think you know that we have plenty of those groups still around.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere, man.
Okay.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does exist, and you're a fool if you don't think it is. But like I've voiced to you before, it's not just those. Everybody, every man, woman is racist. The only people that are not racist by nature is children. They haven't been poisoned by the idiocy yet. Whether you have a white child, a black child, an Asian child, an Indian child, they're innocent. They don't know racism. Racism is learned. It's learned by society, and it's learned by the people that we put in positions of trust.
What about LGBT? Can you be born that way? Born gay, born trans, or do you have to learn that?
No, I think you learn it.
Really?
I think you learn it.
You don't think anybody's born gay?
No. I mean, there's always an exception to the rule. I'm not gonna carve that in stone. I think that the basic rule of thumb is that they learn it. Now, is it possible that somebody could be born kind of with the wires twisted? Well, it's mental illness, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Born shorted out. Why not?
Oh my God. So gay people have their wires shorted out.
Yeah, they're shorted out, man. Somebody plugged the wrong wire into the wrong spot.
Yikes. Gen X, you never disappoint. So, birthright citizenship. He's talking about banning that too. You're okay with that?
Yes.
A baby. Okay, this kid ain't murdered anybody. He's not raped anybody. Okay, let's say, for instance, you find out a 2-year-old or 5-year-old, 10-year-old born to a mom that didn't have any right to be here. You would kick that little kid out of here. I mean, some cases the kid may not know anything about the culture of where you're sending them to, or even the language. You would still do it.
Now, here's where I draw exception is right there, because you just brought up a real good point. If that's all somebody knows, they're born here, and then 12 years into life, you want to take a kid and throw them into a stray country. They don't speak the language. They don't know the culture. It doesn't take a genius to differentiate between right and wrong. And that's just kind of fucked up.
So But let's say, for instance, the mom who had the anchor baby, who has no legal right to be here, but she has custody. Let's say she did get caught up in some sort of crime, maybe running drugs to make ends meet or something like that. She get caught up in a felony, so she's up for deportation, and they find out she got a 12-year-old that has no legal right to be here. What would you do? That person doesn't speak the language, don't know where the hell you sending them to. What would you do? If, let's say they had family members here, would you let them stay with their other family members or something if the mom was okay with that?
That's a rough one, Tim. That's a rough one because man, as bad as I want to say no, kick them out. That's just wrong, man. You can't just do that.
Are you telling me that you have a heart under there?
Especially if they got family to take care of them.
Oh my God! I think I'm. Oh my God! I think I can hear a heart beating. Are you got an EKG machine going on over there?
Nah, I'm fucking with you. Throw them out.
All right. So you're down with kicking trans out of the military. Before I move it on, I see somebody in the comments. Kurt says a MAGA with a heart. Yeah, I didn't know that, man. Defibrillator or something going on there. Before I was about to ask you one more question before. Is it because Trump is talking about reinstating folks in the military that were put out that didn't take the jab and giving them back pay? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
We got the money for that, to give them back pay that could be 2 or 3 years or more?
I think they should find the money. If they can find $200 billion to give to the Ukraine and $200 billion to give to Israel for a war that we got nothing to do with, they should have 200 or however much money to give to our soldiers that were caught in a political crossfire and lost their careers behind some bullshit like a vaccine. That to this day, nobody knows whether the fucking thing works or not.
Is it a possibility, though, that if, tit for tat, if you give folks who didn't take the jab their position and their back pay, that a liberal could come in later on and do the same for transgender? You got kicked out for being trans, we're going to give you a reinstatement and all your back pay as well.
Oh, they're gonna.
Yeah.
They're gonna. Do I? No, I see. The other thing about the trans in military, when you join the military, there's a physical requirement. Okay, it used to be like if you had black feet or you had bad knees or shit like that, you weren't getting in.
That happened to me. Yeah, that happened to me.
Physical impairment. Now, a mental impairment is the same thing. If you have Prader-Willis or you have bipolar disorder or shit like that, you can't get in the military. If you're a trans, you're mentally ill. And if they recognize that as mentally ill, they shouldn't be in there anyway. So you want all trans people to be viewed as mentally ill. Wouldn't that cause them to not be able to work in a host of careers? I mean, from teaching school, probably being around kids all together would be out of bounds if they're all considered mentally ill. Yeah, absolutely. Don't give them a gun.
You want to take away their Second Amendment rights too?
You don't want to. They can have a gun, but they can't work there. They can't be a cop. If you're our cops are crazy enough. You don't need trans cops, like Eddie Murphy used to say. Sitting one on the roof, pull over.
I gotta go. Oh my God, you brought that shit up. Gen X, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming through, man. Appreciate it. That was funny as hell, though. Man. All right, good talk. I don't know if some of you folks that may have seen that Eddie Murphy comedy skit, that's funny as hell, but I don't see any problem wrong with a transgender cop. I don't see any issue with it. Now, my last caller says that if you're transgender, you got a mental illness. And see in the comments, someone says pure bullshit. Tap the screen. Help me get the likes up on the program. We certainly could make it happen on TikTok. Now 400 plus of you in here. Get your boy up to about 30,000 on the likes. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Mental illness. I stand by my original statement. I don't know what they have been doing in society that is so significant that they should be viewed as mentally ill. So I'd like for somebody to maybe come on and correct me and maybe defend what my last caller said, because I'm not seeing it. But I invite folks from all sides. If I could get another caller like my first caller, who was really passionate. He wasn't interested in hearing any pushback. I mean, we're open to that. I don't know if he'll come back, but we're open to folks from all sides of the aisle. We generally get more liberals, but we're open to folks who come on the program and challenge the host. We can do that. We can make that happen. Anyhow, keep continuing on with the program. Keeping it fucking real. Is that what I'm reading? Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Kicking out the transgender out of the military. That Trump is doing an executive order, doing that today. Notice he's not getting a lot accomplished through Congress. It's like all executive orders. Keeping it fucking real. Good afternoon.
What's going on?
Not much at all. Hanging around like Mike Pence on January 6th. So, transgender...
Just so you know, you're not a Marxist, bro. You're not a Marxist. That guy came in hot, bro.
Yeah, he came in hot. He came in. So I'm not a Marxist. So the day is saved.
No.
Am I a fascist?
I might not agree with everything you say, but we do. You're old school like me. We agree to disagree.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm a fascist. Maybe I'm a communist. There's got to be some bad IST in there somewhere.
You know what's funny? People throw around racist, fascist, all these IST words without really knowing what the definition is. Just like racist, real quick. Most of it is prejudice. We don't even hear the word prejudice anymore.
That is true.
Racist is a very powerful word.
That is true.
Back when we were growing up, you were prejudiced. The racist wasn't even a word.
You're talking about like the Archie Bunker types.
Yeah.
I think that's well said. Most people are not in a position of power to really be racist. It's exactly what you're talking about, bigotry and prejudice. I agree with that. So what do you think? Kicking the trans out the military, you favor that?
Well, I hate saying yeah.
Why not?
And the only reason why I say yeah is because the transsexual community have the highest suicide rate than most groups. At least 40% of trans people have thought about or committed or tried to commit suicide.
Do you think that some of that might be due to all the rampant hate floating around?
I think a small percentage of it. I think, if you really feel that you're a man trapped in a woman's body or vice versa, that's a battle, you know what I'm saying? Within your own self.
Yeah, but you're probably battling more with your damn family and the community at large.
You know what, you're my age. We didn't have these weren't issues for us growing up, bro. It wasn't.
No, because there were less transgender, less gay, and all of that when we were growing up. Because back then we were telling them to shut the fuck up and keep that away from us. Now they're allowed to have a place at the table, which is why you see them more.
I don't think we told them to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we did. We didn't even allow gays in the military when we were young. Wasn't it Bill Clinton dealing with that? That just happened in the 90s. We were telling them, get lost.
I mean, you have to go. I think if you could pass if you pass all the requirements mentally and physically, it doesn't matter what you are. But the mental is the most important.
So you would be okay if they could show that they could handle the duties necessary and they could pass an aptitude test, mental and physical. You would be okay with allowing them to serve.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I think most conservatives feel the same way.
No, I don't think that's true. I don't think Trump's going to have a whole lot of pushback for banning the transgender. I don't think that's true.
But the back pay for the military, that's without a doubt, that's the right thing to do.
Okay, so considering that you believe trans should serve, if Trump bans them and a liberal comes along 4 years, 8 years from now, or whatever the hell, would you also be okay with back pay for them because Trump kicked them out? Take your time.
One was a forced kick out. One's a civil right, and one's it's different circumstances.
You cannot just say some shit. You got to define that. I need to know what is the difference.
Well, to me, because like I said, because I question the mental illness part of it. Okay, and
you just said if they could pass the mental and physical aptitude, they should be allowed to serve. Trump is banning them all, so that means he's going to ban people that would have passed the physical and mental aptitude. Should they be given back pay and allowed to re-enlist?
Yes.
Okay, all right. We're bringing the liberal out of you slowly.
The mental, because trans are Americans too. Gay community are Americans too.
Wow.
Democrats are Americans too. We're all American. We all need to protect this country against foreign and domestic. And if you can physically protect it and mentally protect it and love this country, we can't deny someone the right to serve in our military.
Now, you said trans are Americans too. Now, you lean right, correct?
Yeah.
You realize they would kill, you realize certain parts of the country, they would kill you for saying that?
I'd like to see them try.
Trans, I like it. That sounds like something that would belong on a flag. Maybe one that's light blue and pink.
You'll be surprised on how many people think like I do. We only hear they only allow us to hear the super extreme side of MAGA. Okay.
Well,
not everybody's like that.
But I don't know how many MAGA I've ever. I think you're the.
For example, they put they say all January 6th are insurrectionists. Okay, I went to January 6th. I'm not an insurrectionist.
What were you trying to do? What was the purpose of being there that day?
I was there to document it. It was part of history.
Were you were just walking around with a notepad, climbing in through the window?
No, I didn't go. One thing I made a point. I would not go in the building. I was not going into the building.
What is your okay? So you were there. You were there on January 6th to document everything.
Yeah, I got gassed. I got flash bombed. Yeah.
I would love to see your notes. So what came out of your documentation? What did you see there that day?
I knew it was staged because I seen film crews. When I was questioned by the FBI, I told them that. I had video of a film crew at the back door. It was a British director, and they had cameras, like 4 sets of cameras and people, and you had people with MAGA hats and people who didn't look like MAGA working out what they were going to do at the back door.
Wait a minute.
I really thought was
You're talking about an inauguration where we're about to have a smooth transition of power. Why is it so surprising that you've seen a camera crew? We just seen Trump switch over. There were cameras in there. Of course there's going to be a camera crew. This is something that only happens every 4 years.
This is a camera crew with supposed supporters or protesters, and these directors are telling them, I push on the door, and all of a sudden a 12-foot step ladder comes out of nowhere.
So what are you saying? Somebody would have, what you ever seen those things? You go action and you clip it. So you're saying somebody said, "Hold on." They looked at Ashley Babbitt and said, "Okay, action," and she started climbing through the window.
Well, I don't know about the Ashley Babbitt. I have my questions about the Ashley Babbitt there, but there was a lot of staged incidents going on there that I witnessed firsthand, which made me question what was really going on. Because, like I said, I didn't realize I seen me physically. I seen Capitol Police officers get beat up, but they didn't beat them up. Most of what they did, I'm gonna be honest with you, they stripped them down to their underwear and then left them outside.
You do realize that's damn near sexual assault, right?
No, it's wrong too. And you know what? As people were doing that, you had people saying not to do that. Back to blue. But they weren't really like beating them up. They were like more humiliating them and taking their shield. And they thought it was cool that they had their shield. And they would leave the Capitol Guard in his underwear, white T-shirt and white boxes.
Okay, wait, hold on. When you take the police officer's clothing down and leave him in his underwear, can you tell me where the gun is at now? Now that you done took his pants, who has the gun?
There was no gun. Not that I seen.
Yes, because the guy took his pants off and probably hasn't on him. I mean,
I don't think not all Capitol Police were carrying firearms.
Okay,
a lot of them were just carrying.
Where's his radio? Where's his radio? Where's his stun gun? Where's all the other stuff that's on his belt? The handcuffs. Where's all that stuff at?
See, actually, you bring up a point because that was a question that I had too. If all these guards were attacked, where did all these guns? You didn't hear about any guns being taken from any guards.
Yeah, you did. Fanon, Anton Fanon or whatever. He testified that they were talking about taking his gun and killing him with it. He did testify about that.
Yeah, listen, that whole January 6th committee thing is a sham.
So you believe all of the cops? You believe all the cops were lying about what happened to them?
I think some of them did. Yes.
Why would they do that?
Because they're told to.
Any evidence of that?
It's kind of obvious.
Obvious how?
Obvious, bro.
Obvious how?
Because there's a bigger picture. When someone goes, "Listen, motherfucker, you're gonna say this, or when you go home, your whole family's gonna be fucking massacred." you're going to do what they tell you to do.
So you believe somebody threatened the Capitol Police to lying under oath?
Look into how many supposedly committed suicide. More Capitol officers died after January 6th due to supposed suicide, unaliving.
Okay, let me present it this way. Okay, Trump has talked about releasing the records for MLK, John F. Kennedy, and Robert Kennedy. So Trump obviously has control of records from the FBI dating back quite a while. Now that he's in control of the mechanisms of government, should he not release the files on instigating? I mean, shouldn't he have access to all of this stuff? Most of the agents are still working for the FBI, so he should be able to prove this.
We talking about for J6?
Yeah.
You got to remember the January 6th committee deleted a lot of all the evidence.
Yeah, but they didn't fire the people. You can call the people back. You can find out where were they stationed on those days. Who were the FBI and Capitol Police that worked at the Capitol building that day? Call them back.
I think that's eventually what's going to happen.
Well, if it doesn't happen, then how does that look? I mean, if it happens and Trump proves what you're saying, you got a hell of an argument. But you can't say this stuff if he's not making any effort at all. I mean, he can prove who was there on that day because you got a record of where these people were stationed, where the Capitol Police were stationed.
I think when Kesh Patel gets in, that's when you're going to start seeing shit happen. Because I know that's on his list of things to do to get to the bottom of the January 6th. Listen, that's why Trump pardoned a lot of these January 6th is because if the January 6th committee deleted and destroyed so much evidence that evidence that they used to convict him on public display, they couldn't use it in their defense to go back over it. So that's why you do realize some of these folks committing crimes were caught on video, like smashing the officer in the door, bear spraying officers. You realize that was actually caught on video, right? Smashing your way into the Capitol building, breaking windows. That's actually caught on video. Listen, anybody who assaulted a police officer or did destruction deserved to go to jail.
Do they deserve to be out with no criminal history at all, like they are now?
Well, I have my questions about pardons. Okay, but, and it goes back to if you're a piece of shit, you shouldn't be pardoned. If you did something like that, I feel you shouldn't be pardoned. If you committed something, if you did something to hurt another person, no matter what, you should not be pardoned. If you hurt a kid, you should not be pardoned. That's why I had a problem when Biden, he pardoned a lot of pedos, Chinese officials, and some other people that were pedophiles and bad people. And he shouldn't have been pardoned. If you committed any violence, but you got to remember, a lot of people were locked up for just breaking curfew. They're rounding people up.
I'm talking about the fact that all of the folks that got locked up from January 6th, they had a trial. So we should at least go back and see the evidence that the courts presented. I mean,
but a lot of them, you got to understand the conviction in DC is like 96%.
I'm fine with the notion that maybe some of these.
And a lot of these people were so scared to take it to trial that they took a plea, so there was no trial.
But here's something I don't understand. Why are we giving the January 6th folks special treatment? You know how many Americans are serving time for the same reason they were scared to take a plea or they got railroaded by a prosecutor? We don't give a damn about any of those people. Trump said he won. Hold on. Trump said he wanted to. Wait, hold on. Hang on. One of the reasons Trump said he let the folks out is because the facilities they were in were disgusting and inhumane. What about all the other people that were left behind when you freed your people? They're still in a disgusting, inhumane facility. What is he doing about them? They're Americans too. Is he giving MAGA some kind of privilege?
No, I think it was a pushback because you got to remember during the summer of no one from the George Floyd riots were arrested and jailed.
The terrorists, the ones he called
when they burnt down the federal building.
The terrorists, the BLM protesters he called terrorists. So now his guys do what essentially is an act
Not
of
one person got
terror.
arrested, though. They were getting let out of jail. There's no one still in jail from those riots.
Yeah, but they
No one.
still got felonies on their record. All of the Black Lives Matter protesters.
A lot of them were let go.
No, but a lot of them.
Not charged.
No, hold on. A lot of them were let go, but there are hundreds of BLM protesters right now that are out with felonies on their record. All of the January 6th protesters have a clean criminal history. None of them have any record that ever happened. Huh?
Biden fucked up. He should have pardoned them.
Okay, all right. I can.
But Biden's not too smart because he forgot to pardon himself, the idiot.
All right. So you do see though that Trump probably pardoned some genuine bad guys.
Yeah, I think they all do.
They all do.
They all do.
What happened to Drain the Swamp and he wasn't a typical politician?
You got to pay I guess you got to pay some politics.
Okay, so
you know what I'm saying? I think to a certain point it changes people to you have to play the game.
So he didn't drain the swamp; he jumped in.
No, I think that the first time he talked shit, he couldn't drain the swamp because he didn't know how deep the swamp was. But I think he knows how deep the swamp is now.
All right, and it could be. We'll see what happens. I see in the comments.
Listen. Look up what's going to be happening in Gitmo TV, military tribunes.
Who's being put on trial?
I guess we'll see when people start getting arrested. Why? Because the biggest fear for the left and the rhinos and the corrupt politicians is Cash Patel. That's all I'm going to say.
And that's why Biden gave all those pardons, is because you guys are putting bullseyes on people's back.
Yeah, but you know what? But those are before then, you cannot pardon somebody by law until they've been charged or convicted of a crime. I
guarantee you, but before Trump's term is over with, you're going to eat those words. I got to go, though.
Because Trump tried it and it didn't work, and it's going to get over.
I guarantee you, before Trump leaves, he's going to pardon people under those same conditions where they have not been charged yet. I guarantee, and he's going to say the liberals did it, so I can do it now too. Guaranteed, he's going to do that.
No, because those are all going to get overturned. It's not going to be the same circumstances.
All right.
All those pardons, those blanket pardons are going to go bye-bye.
So you think
the idiot forgot to pardon himself?
So you think all the pardons for General Milley and all, you think they're going to get rid of those?
Yes. When it eventually goes before the Supreme Court, it's a no-brainer. It's just sounding. It sounded good for aesthetics, but it's not going to stand up in federal court.
Wow.
The Supreme Court is going to shoot it down because you can't give that's like pardoning someone for a crime they're going to commit, which you can't do. A pardon is you have to be either convicted or charged.
Keeping it
If
fucking.
you're not convicted or charged, you cannot receive a pardon.
Keeping it fucking real. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it, man.
All right, brother.
All right. And by the way, in the comments, Quicksoap says taking someone's cell phone, not allowing them to call for help is a form of kidnapping. And they did take some of the officers' phones. You know, this is what is really problematic with me. Or for me, rather. You know, the right has been talking about the liberals are in favor of defunding the police and they don't have no respect for authority. Oddly enough, when MAGA had a clash with those cops, none of their testimony is accurate. They're lying. They're being, they're selling out. They're working with the FBI. All of a sudden, when it comes to the Capitol Police, all of that pro-law enforcement shit disappeared overnight. I don't understand it, but they certainly don't seem to be pro-police for those Capitol Police officers. In fact, we've heard folks talk about the January 6th protesters were the victims of a witch hunt. They received too much time behind bars. Trump talked about them being in facilities that are inhumane and disgusting. Have we heard any concern at all for what happened to the cops? Has Trump said anything at all about what happened to these police officers? They're in my thoughts and prayers. I'm wishing the best for them. Anything at all? Have you, from day one, Trump referred to what happened as a good day, a peaceful protest, a love fest of sorts. Trump has never spoken ill of what happened on January 6th from day one. So when folks say they were mistreated, they were given an unfair trial, I have to ask the question, based on Trump's testimony, does he believe they should have ever been charged at all? If Trump, by way of yes or no in the comments, impromptu poll before I go to the next caller. If Trump had won in 2020, do you believe those folks would have been charged with a crime at all? If Trump had somehow been brought back to power, do you think he would have held those folks accountable at all? Not talking about an unfair trial. We're talking about a trial at all. We're not talking about a witch hunt or being overcharged. We're talking about being addressed at all. Do you think that any of those folks would have faced any criminal charges whatsoever? Looking in the comments, they wouldn't have been there, says, no, Jackie, what I'm saying is, let's say Trump got reinstated after January 6th. Let's say they did find out an error took place. Do you think he would have charged those folks? The ones that were beating their way in, stealing things off of Nancy Pelosi's desk? If I'm correct, somebody shit in the Capitol building and smeared it on the wall. No charge at all. Whoever that person is, by the way, has been pardoned. No criminal history of that event at all. You could go to your local gas station, get caught stealing a bag of potato chips, and you now have a criminal history that is worse than any of the January 6th participants. No criminal record that ever took place at all. That's how it is. Looking in the comments, that's vandalism, isn't it? At least, probably destruction of property and other things depends on, I mean, if you shit on somebody's heirloom or something of value, they could probably get you with destruction of property because they don't want that back anymore. I mean, let's say they're trying to auction off a pair of really high-value Air Jordan gym shoes and you take a dump on the inside of them. Or you can wash those off. The hell I will. Those are garbage. I'm not going to wear those again. So shit smeared on a wall is bad, but burning down a business is okay. Stop. I don't know why folks keep comparing. I'm going to go back to the box. I'm going to ask you tap the screen, get the likes up to about 40,000, THOU. Smash that like button on YouTube, vertical and horizontal, if you will. Help get the likes up. Mr. Splagaville said, that is some Twilight shit, my G. Yeah, I can't control the callers. I can't control the topic beyond that. Black Racist Tim says, Philip Holmes with no, by the way, I don't have an issue with criticism. You can criticize the host, as long as you don't say shit that's going to ruin the live stream for the censors and all that, like the N-word and some of that crazy shit. Other than that, say what the hell you want about the host. But I will say this, as opposed to sounding like you're sitting around in kindergarten with a bunch of crayons in front of you, add some fucking context to what you're saying. For instance, Philip Holmes says black Tim racist. Give me a reason why. You got a whole paragraph worth of text to do so. Say some more shit other than what you're saying. Otherwise, it means nothing. There's no value. But in regards to January 6th, Michelle says, so shit smearing on the wall is bad, but burning down businesses is okay. Stop. I don't know why we keep comparing January 6th to BLM. Trump was president during the Summer of Love with BLM. All of those were state crimes. If there are any federal crimes that took place that year, then Trump's administration would have been responsible for holding them accountable. But other than that, it's state crimes. You cannot go to federal court bitching about folks who committed state crimes that didn't face justice. I would also add that Trump referred to BLM as a terrorist outfit. Said they're committing acts of terrorism. BLM. So then when his people does what they did at the Capitol building, they start making comparisons to BLM. If you think this group is terrorists, why would you compare yourself to it other than you admitting we fucked up too? Why not compare it to the March on Washington by MLK or some peaceful abortion protest? Why are you comparing it to an act that you were once referring to as terrorism? Is that not an admission that what we did is really bad, it's just not quite as bad as what they did? I mean, that's what it sounds like. You're picking what you have viewed before January 6th as one of the worst forms of protest ever, and you're using that to defend yourself with, which is essentially saying, yes, we really fucked up, just maybe not quite as bad as them. Then why the hell you get pardoned then? Looking in the comments, they said January 6 folks were Antifa and FBI, so Trump pardoned them. That makes no sense. Because if that's the case, then you pardon some January 6th I mean, you pardoned some Antifa and FBI members. That doesn't make any sense in my opinion. That Antifa was there and you don't have any names to provide. Nobody. I mean, if you saw them getting off a bus and changing clothes, or nobody took a picture of them, anything, no face to produce. We see folks on TikTok all the time, Karens and people talking to people like shit. Somebody snaps a picture of it, and the internet can find out who they are, where they work, and everything. Where are all these Antifa people at? I mean, if they're there, everybody saw them, but nobody went beyond that. Going back to the box, tap the screen, get the likes on up. You know how we do it. Continuing on with Randy. No relation to Jackson's, right? Good afternoon, Randy. Welcome to the program.
What's going on, Mr. Tim?
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What am I getting wrong here? I've been called a Marxist and every damn thing today.
You are kind of a Marxist.
Elaborate. Give me your spiel. What makes me a Marxist? I want to learn something today.
Well, we all know that Black Lives Matter thing was crooked as hell.
Explain.
I mean, the lady that created that, she made millions of dollars, ran off with all the money. I mean, there was never any organization in that.
So you're basically saying because Steve Bannon ran off with a bunch of money to build a wall, do you believe building a wall at the southern border is corrupt and crooked as hell? I mean, he went to jail for that. And Trump pardoned him, by the way.
I didn't know Steve Bannon took money from any kind of
They were going to build a wall at the southern border, and you could actually put your name on a brick. You could pay so they would put your name on a brick. They collected a bunch of money, and they never built the wall and kept the fucking money.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah. So if you're talking about an organization collecting money and doing nefarious things with it or misappropriating it, then the whole Build a Wall fund is corrupt too, right?
Well, that guy that got up here on with you a while ago, man, he was pretty
he was
pretty sharp, you know what I'm saying?
He was sharp. Explain that. How was he sharp?
Well, I mean, he knew what was up, you know what I'm saying? He's kind of like you. He's an educated guy, and he's done his research.
Shit, he didn't think I was educated at all, so I appreciate the compliment. But get me the fascism. I want to correct my wicked ways. Tell me more about this fascist host you're talking to. Give me some examples of how I'm being a fascist.
Well, I mean, you're not a stupid man.
I want to know about fascism, though.
You're a smart guy. You know that January 6th committee and all that. I mean, they pardoned all those people, Tim.
And
what?
What does that mean?
What did they pardon them for?
What did they pardon the January 6th people for?
Yeah, what they do wrong? You tell me. They didn't do anything wrong.
So,
right?
So what did the cops said they were getting their asses beat? They were taking their guns away. Did they make all that up?
No. No, I'm talking about Liz Cheney and Benny Johnson. All the people that were on the January 6th committee were pardoned. Why were they pardoned? What did they do wrong? Nobody's proved that they've ever done anything wrong yet, except they've destroyed all the evidence.
Well,
so why were they pardoned?
Because Trump made it clear he had a bullseye on their back, and just to save them the investigation, he pardoned them. Biden pardoned them.
Was that right? Is that right?
Hold on.
What if that would have been Obama coming in? What if that had been Obama coming into the presidency instead of Trump?
What do you mean?
So let's say Michelle Obama ran for president and won.
Okay.
And Biden went in there and pardoned all of the January 6th committee.
You know, to answer that question, if Michelle Obama won the office and she was making it clear she was going to prosecute people that had not been convicted of anything, I don't care who she is. I'm okay with pardoning those folks before she can get their hands on them. Trump made it clear. Yeah, Trump made it clear that Fauci, Comey, Milley, Liz Cheney, he made it clear all of these people got a bullseye on their back. In my opinion, he should have took the Nike slogan and just did it. By him painting all these bullseyes, making it clear you're going to target people, that sounds like what he's been complaining about, a weaponized justice system. So Biden was just like, I'm going to remove your enemies list. Because look at what has happened. You got folks like Pompeo, you got folks like Ambassador Bolton, folks who worked on Trump's behalf. Now they're facing death threats for doing Trump's bidding, and he removed their security detail. So Trump will do some wild shit. So Biden is like, I'm not going to leave these folks out here that try to hold him accountable to be victimized by him.
So do you think that all the prosecutions that went on with Trump were good, solid, legal prosecutions?
No, I do believe that Trump being running for president, obviously saying all kinds of awful shit about everybody too, probably didn't work in his best interest. I think that if he was not running for president, I don't think some of those cases would have happened. I mean, obviously paying off Stormy Daniels and all of that, it's either a crime or it isn't. But the whole evaluating, devaluating his properties, I think him and Michael Cohen, who would have been his lawyer still, would have made a deal with the government, paid a couple $1,000,000 or so, or whatever the fine is, and that would have went away.
But think about this, Tim. Think about if you got off your live and all of a sudden somebody came up to your door and knocked on your door and arrested you for what you said on TikTok today.
Okay.
I mean, we live in a free country where we're supposed to be able to say
no,
what we
I don't think you do. I like your statement. I want to agree with you, Randy, but if I came into town and I was, going around holding public rallies, which I have total free speech to do so, and talking about how corrupt the police department is in town, you don't think I would probably get pulled over a little bit more than normal? Maybe get some bullshit tickets? You don't think that would happen?
To me, the way I see it is that the Trump getting. I mean, and the American people spoke. They spoke in the election. They want to clean up all this corruption. And
they didn't want him to pardon all those January 6th people, so he ain't cleaning up the corruption. A lot of folks, even on the right, think that was corrupt. They think that Biden abused his pardon, and Trump just followed up and did the same thing. Even folks on the right don't favor that.
Well, so who are you talking about? Mitch McConnell? Come on now.
I'm talking about even a lot of right-wing analysts are not big fans of those January 6th pardons. I mean, a lot of folks...
There's a lot of right-wing politicians that are just as corrupt as the left-wing politicians.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask it to you this way. Without referring to Black Lives Matter, do you think any Trump supporters committed any crimes at all on January 6th?
I think they committed crimes, but I'm like that other guy that said a lot of that was staged. They had people in that group that were federal agents that were antagonizing those people.
How do you antagonize somebody to commit a major felony? Tell me what the FBI agent would do to make you commit a major felony.
Well, I mean, he was in there antagonizing all the protesters two nights before the committee, even before they ever went and did the rally. You guys need to go and y'all need to charge the Capitol. That's the only way they're going to ever understand what's going on. And we all know now.
Hold on. You really believe that if somebody told me to go out and rob a bank and they kept telling me for 2 or 3 days and I robbed the bank, I could use that as a defense? Well, homeboy was the one that kept telling me to do it. When has that ever been used as a defense for committing a felony? Is there somebody? You're a grown man.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying, Tim, what I'm saying is that if you had a whole group, if you felt like as a black man or a white man that you were being oppressed and you had a whole group, I mean, you remember the Black Panthers back in the day. Yeah. And if you were being oppressed and you were having a bunch of people that you thought maybe were speaking the truth and had a good word to say, and they were giving you, hey, tomorrow at our meeting, at our rally, we need to rush those people and let them know we mean business.
So when Rudolph Giuliani said let's have trial by combat, why isn't he called an instigator?
Man, I don't know about Rudy Giuliani. I mean, the only thing I know about Rudy Giuliani is that up until the day that Trump lost the election, he was considered to be the finest lawyer in the country, the most upstanding, finest mayor ever to hit New York City. He has done. I don't know anything about Rudy Giuliani. I don't know anything.
I'm just simply saying.
I don't know nothing about him.
So when you got folks in the crowd talking about hanging Mike Pence, why aren't they considered instigators? If you're going to say yelling something out makes you an instigator, then you got to assume the woman walking through the hall, 1776. Why aren't these folks considered instigators? I mean, you got people on video yelling for the crowd to do stuff.
It's because everybody was saying that Pence could. All he had to do was just uphold his certification. If he would uphold his certification, there would have to be counts on the ballots to correct and make sure that everything was verified properly. And everybody was. That's why they were after Pence.
Yeah, but you can't kill somebody because they don't do what you want. You can't take somebody's life. I mean, what Mike Pence did was not criminal. We're 4 years out and we still don't. Nobody
was killed.
They're calling for his death.
Nobody was killed on January the 6th except Ashley Babbitt.
No, because nobody was killed. Yeah, because they all ran. Because they all went off and ran away is why they weren't killed. They took off running.
And listen, Tim, you're a smart man. You know I love you with all my heart, but you're a smart man. This what should make you really question. Just that one little thing right there.
What?
Nobody on January the 6th was killed except for Ashley Babbitt. But yet the left continues to spew propaganda saying there was 3 police officers that were killed on January the 6th.
Well,
no, there wasn't.
First of all, there were three cops. I'm not aware of 3 cops dying on that day. I know people committed suicide and and all that, but nobody died on the day. I agree with you there. But I think that, like, for instance, you're talking about, some of the stuff you're saying just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're saying nobody was killed. They took off running. Let me ask you this. If that crowd had caught up to Nancy Pelosi or caught up to Mike Pence, what are you just speculating? Because we don't know. But what do you think would have happened?
I don't know.
You can speculate. You can speculate.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I mean,
they would have hurt him. They would have brought harm down on him.
I'm like that lady that told me yesterday. She said, I don't get it. Nancy Pelosi is 88 years old. She fell and broke her
84.
hip.
Yeah, she 84.
Okay, 84. I'm sorry. She's 84 years old. She fell and broke her hip. She was in the hospital, had to have surgery. Isn't it time to step down? I'll be damned if she's not back up on that floor with a walker out there. I mean, it's just, this is what it boils down to me, Tim, for me as an American.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned on MSNBC, CBS, ABC, whatever, one of those news stations, and they say there was 3 police officers killed on the day of January the 6th. Shouldn't somebody answer for that? Well, that's a damn lie. And somebody that might believe that news organization is a sourceful bit of information would not believe that.
Well, I'm watching Fox News.
One little thing.
I'm watching Fox News. Hold on. I'm watching Fox News the evening of January 6th, and I'm watching Judge Jeanine Pirro say that those people are not Trump supporters. They're all Antifa. That's a lie, too. She said none of the folks that went in the Capitol building were MAGA. They were all Antifa. She lied as well. And then people were saying it was Black Lives Matter. All the networks were telling things that were not necessarily true. So you want them all to be held accountable?
I haven't heard Black Lives Matter, but I have heard Antifa, and I don't even know what Antifa is. So
I don't have any evidence at all was Antifa. And I'll tell you this: all of the folks that got charged that went to court and was fighting their case, none of them blamed it on Antifa. I haven't heard Trump say it was Antifa. I don't know where that's coming from. Even Trump himself, who claims it was
Antifa.
Huh?
What is Antifa?
Anti-fascists, people that don't like fascism. Why y'all keep? But I'm telling you this: Trump Trump brought up that it was a love fest, it was a good day, it was a peaceful protest. He would be the main one who should be saying, my guys were good. It was Antifa agonizers that came here and did that. You're not hearing anywhere at all Trump say it was Antifa. Not once has he ever said that. Not once has any of the Senate, Congress, Capitol Police, all that were there that day, none of them have blamed it on Antifa. Not one of them. Why is that?
Well, I think this is his first full week as president, and he's already done more.
That ain't got nothing to do with what I asked you, though. That ain't got nothing to do. That ain't got nothing to do with what I just asked you. Why? It's been 4 years. Why hasn't he blamed it on Antifa?
I don't think he has time for that. He just pardoned them and went on.
4 years.
He's a busy man.
All right, I got to move it on.
You know what he's busy doing?
What?
No. Let me say this, and I'm done, Tim. I love you. I'm not going to top your time. I thank God that he's protecting my 19-year-old daughter. That's all I can say. Thank you, sir. I love you.
Appreciate it, Randy. Always welcome back. Thank you for coming through. All right, looking at the comments. Quick note says Lindsey Graham said it's wrong. Yeah, Lindsey Graham. In fact, Mitch McConnell, all of them on January 6th evening was saying that them folks were wrong, and then they found out that Trump was going to survive, and they all changed their tune. But the pardons, I don't think the pardons are going to go down in history very favorably, because most folks defending the pardons are bringing up Black Lives Matter. They're not saying they're innocent. They're saying that other people did something similar and got away with it. 20, 30 years from now, BLM protests are going to be irrelevant. That Capitol raid will always be in history. Nobody talks about individual, BLM protests. That ain't going to last that long. So eventually, that Capitol riot is going to be a standalone conversation. You're not going to be bringing up 30 years ago, well, there were some black folks that were protesting all over the country, and that's not going to come up. He wants your daughters to populate the white race. DJ Elizabeth, what the hell does that mean? Tap the screen, get the likes up. In regards to the actual topics, I asked, getting back to the actual show, because it wasn't supposed to be about January 6th, but that does come up often. Trump is banning trans in the military. Do we have some sort of hatred to that community? He's banning post-op, pre-op, doesn't matter. If you're trans, you're out. I'm asking, if America's being invaded, do you have a problem with someone picking up a rifle and defending this great nation simply because of their sexuality? What if you're in the foxhole and you're pinned down by the enemy? Would you be opposed to an extra gun coming to help you out simply because of the person's sexuality? Would you be against that? We're going to ask that question. And of course, I'm still hammering the Democrats because they're against allowing ICE and immigration officials to go deal with immigrants that are here on an undocumented status, illegal immigrants of sorts, but they've committed a crime and they're incarcerated. Why would you have a problem with immigration deporting somebody that's already been so awful that you put them in jail? I don't understand why the Democrats are doing that. To me, that doesn't look good. So we're talking about that. And last but not least, birthright citizenship. Is what Trump talking about in regards to getting rid of that, is that unconstitutional? The lower court has already ruled so, but Trump doesn't ever stop at the lower court. You know that. So what do you think the Supreme Court's going to do? Going back to the box, tap the screen, 50,000, 50, F-I-D-D-Y is possible, 400 plus of you in here. Tap the screen, get the likes up to 50,000. I need to help. It helps out the algorithm. So tap the screen for my TikTok viewers. Smash that like button on YouTube. You enjoy this type of dialogue, you should probably follow or subscribe. We're here Monday through Friday. That is how we do it. Going to the box, Forever CT says Trump's Justice Department fires officials who investigate Trump and launches a special project into January 6 cases. True. Trump does not like folks who are critical or disloyal to him. There could be a problem with that. Surrounding yourself with yes men, which is what he's doing. I've said that already, that some of these files being released, if he releases the Epstein files, releasing the MLK, JFK, RFK, I don't know if I trust him. Certainly the ones on MLK. I don't know if I trust the accuracy of that stuff. Respectfully, I want a man next to me, pause, in a fight. What if you don't have a choice though, Mars? Said if I'm in a fight, I want a man next to me. Then if you want a man next to you, we're talking about the military, the transgender being bad. If you want a man next to you in a fight, is it safe to say you don't want women in the military at all? I mean, because if you're in a fight, it might be a female. What if you call for air support and the female is the pilot that may be dropping bombs on enemy positions nearby? You want a man, so you want to get rid of all the females in the military? Is that what I'm hearing? Let me know in the comments. Continuing on with my next caller. Don't know what I just hit there. We'll bring up a woman, by the way, Miss Mobetta. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Women, what about, are you women not able to defend this nation? Are you incapable of serving?
Listen, what's funny is because you've been having men run this country for so long, like, if you don't see the misogyny in any of this, then you're a part of the problem. And I'm saying you in general, not just you specifically.
What are you saying, that the men are a bunch of DEI hires? They're only getting it because of their gender?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They think that for some reason they're a lot stronger than the counterparts, or something like that.
Well, you would admit though, biologically, men do tend to be stronger than women, right?
They do. No, they do. They probably can lift something 100 pounds, and I'm at a 50-pound max. That's just how God made it.
Yeah, but in the military nowadays, most of the military work does not necessarily require strength. Pulling triggers and flying air. I mean, you don't always need. Sometimes it's brain work.
Well, see, not only that, there's so many different parts to the military. You have people that are in the medical field. You have people that are in the culinary field. There's so many different fields when it comes to the military. Till I think it's really asinine to even say you're gonna bar. Who cares who they sleep with? I don't care who you share your bed with. It doesn't affect me one way or the other. And and you're talking about these Christian people, you're talking about if the Bible and the Bible thumpers, do they know King James was a gay man?
I've heard that. I have heard that. But what about the notion? I got a viewer, USA 1776 says, laugh my ass off. No, the Army had to lower their standards for the longest so much that they had to change the whole PT. In other words, women were not qualified. He's suggesting that the only reason women are able to get in the military is they had to lower the standards to make it so.
Well, if that's so, maybe so. But they still need women.
Yeah.
They still going to need women in some fashion in there. So now, as far as transgender, what are you scared they're going to come out there in a red wig? I don't see the point. Make it make sense to me, Tim.
Well, I'll attempt to
what is the actual fear?
Well, one of the things is I had one of my viewers on earlier, Gen X, who said, if you are transgender, you're mentally ill.
I heard his ass. But let me tell you something. Let's go back. If you want to talk about mentally ill, let's go back and look at the crime statistics. Let's compare it to transgender people committing crimes or heterosexual, normal, quote-unquote Americans committing crimes. The numbers don't match.
Well, yeah, there's significantly more heterosexuals around, though.
Well, that too, but I still want to see some data to support the fact that they are the ones that are mentally ill. You got people that sit around, gluttony too, Gen X, is a mental illness. So when you sit your tail on the couch overeating and overindulgence, that's also a mental illness.
I didn't hear that.
So the thing is, you can't. The hypocrisy is just so uncanny. It's like you're judging one thing and letting something else go, and they're almost the same thing.
Yeah. So you don't buy into the notion that transgender people are mentally ill?
Oh, I got family members that are so mentally ill and that are not transgender.
Yeah.
So you can't judge that, and I believe most of them are born that way. If the ones that are not born that way, 9 out of 10 of them, because I've done some study, 9 out of 10 of them were sexually, whatever we got to say for TikTok, violated by a family member.
Ooh, yeah.
By a family, and I went to the shelter and actually did the study. So this is how I know.
So
in
your humble opinion, you know we don't black ban or since you can say whatever you want on this. Why do you think Trump is banning them from the military?
You know why I think, you know, because he so-called loves women so much that he was attracted to a trans and didn't know it.
What?
Yep.
When
Listen, do you know how hard some of these trans go to? And they some of them are very beautiful.
Yeah, I almost got caught slipping a couple times myself.
It's easy to get caught. And in my opinion, I believe he was attracted to one, and once he found out that it was trans, it stepped on his little man's ego.
Are you saying that he attempted to grab him by the pussy and found out something different?
And got a handful of balls.
Oh my God!
And got a handful.
Oh my God! I bet that wasn't locker room talk. I bet they talking about that shit.
Exactly. So you see, you made a good point earlier. It's like, why is he doing so many executive orders?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. You going in there over 100 and something executive orders in the first 3 days? Because we said this before the election. He's going in with vengeance. And that's why Biden pardoned those people, because he know he was going to target them.
Well, he didn't even need to know. Trump was announcing that he was going after him. So yeah.
He went in there with a vengeance. That's why he didn't have any plans. And now he's going to ride with whatever 2025 said. He didn't care nothing about presidency. He's caring about keeping himself out of prison. And another point, I'm sorry, I shifted it real quick.
You good.
So the guy, your last caller, is talking about Antifa and all of them FBI. If they were so against Trump, why is he pardoning?
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I don't have, and I'm able to play both sides on a lot of issues. Yeah, if Antifa and all these FBI instigators, Trump would be saying that. If the FBI was instigating and ruining what was a peaceful protest, he wouldn't be pardoning them. Yeah.
He wouldn't be pardoning them. So, and for the guy that did take a dump on Nancy Pelosi, he wasn't pardoned. Yeah. I think it was two guys that were head of something that he didn't pardon. But why would he pardon if it was BML BLM and stuff like that? He wouldn't pardon them.
Not only would
that bullshit.
Yeah, not only would he have not pardoned him, Trump himself would be saying that it would have been a peaceful protest if it wasn't for Antifa and BLM coming here and ruining it. And he has not said that at all. So one thing I'll give Trump credit for, though, if Trump steps in shit, people rush to wipe his feet and will make up stuff when he's not even making it up. Like, he never made up. He was never the one that said locker room talk originally. People filled that in for him. So
somebody else. I told you he's the Pied Piper. I'm telling you, he blow that whistle of a mouth he has, and those idiots follow him right to ruin.
Okay,
and that's what happened with January 6th. He followed them. They followed him to ruin, and then he left. You're lucky he won again, because y'all would have still been left out there to dry.
Okay, I got to get tough on you now. Why the hell are the Democrats preventing immigration from deporting folks who actually have a criminal jacket?
I believe they're doing it just to go at Trump. Which is, I think it's kind of corny too. It's corny, because if you in here committing crimes and you ain't even here legally, what the hell y'all trying to find? Grace for him? No.
So you do believe that they should let ICE go into the jails and deport people who? That's what
I'm telling you. That's where he should start at. Start there, because that's where the money is actually being spent. So because they're not receiving assistance like people think they are. They're not receiving governmental assistance. That was only for 90 days. That expired. They're not receiving any assistance like that. So like I said, what they're doing, you have these construction companies, these factories and stuff. They're the ones who are hiring these people. Not only hiring them, they're housing them as well. The vineyards, they're hiring them as well and living on their property. So they're double dipping. It's a monopoly.
Yeah, I've said that before, that if you're hiring an illegal immigrant to save on money, you are a conspirator in the problem. And
you're a conspirator.
Yeah, you don't hear Trump talking about going after them at all. It's a lot of Americans that are the reason why this problem is so bad, and you don't hear him talking about that at all.
Well, and see, that's the thing, and that's why they continue to come here. Because if it was If it was so bad and stuff, why would they continue to keep? Because they have opportunity. All it takes is one me friend to get the job, one me friend, and then they're gonna bring a whole boatload of other people with them.
Fair enough. Last question before I move it on. Pleasant Gift in the comments is saying, day 7, how many illegals have Trump deported so far? Does he deserve credit for promises made, promises kept? He is deporting a hell of a lot of people.
Well, that's what he should do. That's what he said he was gonna do. If he ain't got shit else, at least let your word be your bond.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're gonna do. Now, like I said, I don't agree with going in and scaring the crap out of kids or going into a place of worship to do so. Even if you wait outside in the cut or whatever. Start in the jails like you said you was going to do. Get the criminals out of here. Because those other people are really not harming anybody.
So you would be, so it sounds like harming people. So it sounds like you would be against birthright, taking away birthright citizenship.
That's really tough, Tim. That's tough because if the child is born here, the child is technically an American. Now, if you came over here with the expectation of just, all right, I'm gonna have a baby and we're gonna stay because I'm not gonna have anybody, that's wrong. Because now you're not doing it the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's really a touchy situation.
Well, it ain't technically. It ain't technically.
Who's gonna take care of the kids if they're left here?
Well, I don't think nobody gives a damn. I think technically though, it ain't technically officially. It's in the 14th Amendment. You are a citizen if you're born here.
You're a citizen. And ain't really nothing you can do about that. You know what I'm saying?
Well.
So, and MAGA just gets on my nerves. It's the Democrats, Antifa, Rhino. Y'all, you know how many words have been made up under MAGA? So I've never heard. Give me 3. That's funny. That's funny. Give me 3 words. 3 in my life. Antifa. Nobody even Antifa. What is that? A Rhino. Let's go, Brandon. What the hell is all of that stuff?
It's good campaigning. They won on that shit.
Well, yeah, it worked for them. No, I'm not going to say that solely worked for them because, like I said, Trump's pimp, Elon Musk, made sure he won that presidency.
Elon Musk.
That's
a made-up word. That's a made-up word.
Yup, that's the show is, and he bought the United States of America.
All right. Miss Mo Better, I got to move it on. Nobody does it better. Appreciate you coming through.
Indeed.
All right, good talk. Moving on with the program real quick. I'm going to ask what I always ask you to tap the screen. Get the likes on up to about 60. Appreciate the audience hanging around. You know we don't block, ban, or censor. We are indeed MAGA friendly. Been that way since day one. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, I'm going to ask that you follow the program on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. You know how that works. Stevie D, thank you for the support. Thank you, Stevie. Appreciate that. That's his daddy, says Billy Wop. Yikes. Lost Soul. I'm assuming Big Boss, you didn't like my last caller. Just like he's trying to buy Germany. I haven't heard that one. I haven't heard he's trying to buy Germany, but he is getting involved with a lot of, for a man who was going to get us out of overseas conflicts and stop sending money overseas, he is talking about Panama, making Canada the 51st state, purchasing Greenland, using the military to address the cartels, which is essentially a small stage war, essentially. That's 4. Is there any other countries talking about? Panama, Greenland, Canada, Mexico. I think there's somebody else out there. I don't know, but he is certainly not ending overseas wars. I mean, he's getting involved in stuff. Some of that stuff might turn into loss of life. Colombia, he wanted to send deported citizens back to Colombia, and they were refusing to take the aircraft, so they started having a trade war. Threatening a tariff war. He was going to impose 27%. I mean, that's his go-to weapon, is that if you don't agree, we're going to fuck up your economy. That is his go-to weapon. You already know that. So, in my opinion, I don't know how this is going to go, but in my opinion, any country that feels like they may soon fall out of favor with Trump, they need to start establishing themselves in a way where U.S. tariffs won't destroy them. Any country south of the border right now, that's what they need to start doing. Figure out a way so that if Trump in the future imposes tariffs on your country, it doesn't hurt as much, because that is his go-to weapon. It's like literally wearing a badge and going into a crack house to serve a warrant. They're likely going to use firearms. Let's put on a bulletproof vest, because that's the weapon they're going to probably go to, is a firearm. You know, Trump's go-to weapon is going to be a tariff. So they need to start figuring out a way to lessen their exposure to American tariffs, because that is his go-to weapon. Looking in the comments, though, his tariffs are going to hurt us, says Angela. Yeah, you said it's going to hurt us Americans. Yeah, I don't know how much business we do with Colombia, but he was already talking about imposing a 25% tariff on them. He's threatened tariffs with China, Canada, Mexico, Colombia. Who else is he threatening tariffs with? I mean, you know that's his go-to weapon. So if you're going to be on the wrong side of the United States, you need to prepare for that, because that's what he's going to fire at you first. You said, I didn't think about that. Coffee. And I see in the comments, Jody said a lot if you like coffee. I didn't think about Colombian coffee. That is true. Just fuck up Starbucks completely, huh? Driving by Starbucks, ain't nobody in line for that bitter ass shit they sell. Let me go back to the box. We need to get the illegals out of our country and come back legally. That ain't gonna happen, Reed. I think you're giving half of the story. I agree with the first part. We need to get the illegals out of our country. I don't think anybody wants them to come back illegally. When he said, why do people have to keep coming here from shithole countries? He didn't say illegally. So, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, you can certainly state that in the comments. My opinion is the goal is to get them out of our country and lessen the amount of them that are here, period. Legally or illegally. We want less of these folks to come here. Notice how he's okay with making Canada a 51st state. What type of residents are in Canada? Not a lot of brown people, are they? So he's okay with not only letting them in, but we'll just swallow up the whole fucking country. They don't need to come in legally. We'll make them all legal citizens. All the Canadians do is need to say, yes, we agree. And they instant all have citizenship. Very friendly exchange there. But the Mexicans are, y'all need to get y'all ass out and come legally. You Canadians, you just sign this and you can all become citizens. Big difference, huh? Big difference. He's literally begging the Canadians to become part of America. Meanwhile, the Mexicans are being told, get the fuck out. Let me go back to the box. Mexico is working with China to get away from depending on the U.S. I would strongly advise that. I would strongly advise all the NATO member nations to really start convening on a backup plan. You can do it publicly and state, because of what, the Trump doctrine, whatever you want to call it. We need to come up with a way of not being so reliant on the U.S. Trump has showed us that you can't always depend on that. So the remaining nations need to start figuring that out. If it includes Russia or China, so be it, but he's making it clear that we might leave them. Continuing on with the program. Wow, there's a lot of you folks in here. I'll make it happen. Alan A. Quinn, I think that is. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Biden was deporting people using commercial aircraft. Trump started using military aircraft. Well, not only that, but Trump makes everything a spectacle. That has a lot to do with it. Quinn, good afternoon.
What's going on, Tim? So, Tim, please tell me that you saw the latest DOJ report.
No.
On crime.
No.
Oh, all that crime-ridden blue cities? Tell me why crime is down in 85 major cities. Why was the final crime report in 2024, the murder rate was down 22.7%?
That's coming from the liberals. I don't believe it.
Oh, no, I'm glad you said that, because it came from Fox. Fox. Yeah. I knew you was going to try to go there with me.
Yeah. The liberals weaponized the DOJ to make the Biden administration look good.
Right, Tim. Right. It's always the liberals, like Antifa that he just pardoned. All those Antifa folks that he just pardoned.
I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. The Antifa stuff.
Yeah, but I thought just maybe, you and I could play a little game.
You,
They said that the economy was so terrible.
yeah.
Yeah. During his whole term, he had 16.6 million jobs. The GDP grew 12.6%. It's the only administration to have created jobs in every single month.
You're talking about Biden administration. You know, when it comes to the Biden administration, all of the analysts were talking about how great the economy was getting, best economy on earth. We were steadily improving. I've said before, in my opinion, perception is reality. It doesn't matter what they're telling you about the economy. If you can't afford, if you cannot afford to gas your car up, that is your reality for the economy. It doesn't matter what the Biden administration is saying.
Tim, I'm glad you said that.
I'm glad you like it. What you got?
Because you know something, Tim? Americans' average hourly wages rose from 29 to 84 to 35.69 over the last 4 years. That's a 19.6.
Give me those numbers again.
29.84 to 34.69 over the last 4 years. That's a pay bump of 19.6%.
What are those numbers? Is that hourly, yearly? What is that?
That's hourly.
So the average went from $29.84 an hour to $34.69.
35.69.
Wow.
Give me this whole dollar now. Don't leave that dollar out there now. The average, just after tax income, increased nearly $4,000.
You know the problem with that number, why that number may not necessarily reflect reality for a lot of people, is because the greater
a lot of people live on their credit cards.
No, that's not what I'm. That too, but that's not what I'm saying. As we continue to experience a greater and greater disparity of wealth, the folks at the top, like let's say the Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, if you take the average wage in their state, and you got to factor in that this dude is worth $750 billion, it's going to be artificially inflated. Everybody in this state is averaging $50 an hour. Yeah, because it's all in this dude's hand. Everybody else might be making $20 an hour. This one dude got all the fucking money. So I don't know if the average you gave me under the Biden administration should be taken at face value, because the disparity of wealth in the upper quadrant has grown so damn much.
Well, I wonder why it grew, Tim. Might that have something to do with tax cuts?
Could be.
See how you walk? You see how you walk yourself down there? You see how you walk yourself down there? I didn't walk you down there. You walk yourself down there.
And hold on. When I mentioned the wealth that people like Elon Musk makes, RMG said he takes all the risk. What fucking risk are you taking to make almost $750 billion? You got cops on the street that take more risk than Elon Musk. What the hell are you talking about? He's making cars and satellites. People getting shot at every day. What kind of risk is he taking? Go ahead, Quinn.
I definitely hear you. And here's the thing. People can say it's false information. This is stuff you can easily Google yourself. Oh, also, just in case people were wondering, lowest average unemployment in 50 years, record low unemployment rates for Black and Latino women, vets, and workers without a high school diploma. So all those uneducated, all of them. And finally, Tim, let me close out with this. I love this. 21 million new small business applications. Most of any presidential administration.
That stuff is irrelevant to the average worker, though, Quinn. I mean, the average person struggling to pay their bills, that stuff is irrelevant to them.
But here's what it tells you in the greater context. America is not this third world nation that is being portrayed as. 21 million people had an opportunity, took the opportunity to start their own business, especially Black business ownership, hitting a 30-year high.
I'll make it clear. I don't disagree with you that Trump exaggerates. I mean, Trump wanted to win re-election, so he's going to make America sound like Beirut. I get your point. But what I'm saying, though, when it comes to the economy, and people say the economy is so much better under Biden than we originally thought, I'm saying for the average person, if they can't afford to pay their bills, it doesn't matter what the analysts are saying. For them, the economy sucks.
How many people will say that, Tim? And I say to you what I said to you since I started talking to you. I ain't passed by no Walmart, Target, Lowe's, or Home Depot.
I know where you're going.
I packed. Yeah. I ain't seen nobody miss Christmas. The Amazon truck just left from a neighbor's house, and they've been coming by here all day. Yeah. So while all these people talking all that crazy, if you're not, here's the thing. Look at your situation, because somebody wrote this in the comments earlier, which is, hey, what immigrant took a job from you? If you're an American, born, raised, and educated here, and an immigrant came across several countries and took your job, you sucked at your job to begin with.
Oh, damn. Well, I got to push back a little bit. It ain't that immigrants might. It ain't that
an immigrant come over here and take your job.
No, that ain't what I'm talking about. It ain't that an immigrant might take your job, but what immigrants effectively do by giving employers access to cheap labor is they bring down the salaries for us all. They're hurting the salaries for people, even people that jobs that they're not taking. I always say this: salaries are like the foundation on a house. I usually say this in defense of raising the minimum wage to my right folks, but folks on the left, I even say salary is like a foundation on a house. If you're on the third floor, if I fuck with the foundation, you're gonna feel that on the third floor. So the people that are working these menial jobs, they're at the foundation. But if you give them less or more, you on the third floor are gonna feel that. You're gonna be rising or falling with them.
Tim, here's all I can tell you. If you go and look at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, approximately, I think 10% of the just the men, I'm just talking about men right now.
Okay.
Over 10% of the men make over six figures in this country. 10. Okay. The average male is making about 50. The average white guy is making a little bit more. The average Asian is making a little bit more. A black male is making about 47.
Did that change due to Biden policies?
What I'm saying is, yeah, it's going up. I know for us in our community, it's going up every single quarter. I tracked it, Tim. For us, it went up every single quarter. It went up for black men and black women. Black women, it went up slightly more, but they still were trailing us.
But then I'm going to say what I've said on the program before many times is that poor messaging from the Democrats is why a hell of a lot of Americans don't feel that.
I do not disagree with you. I do not disagree with you, and that is what I have been preaching. If they would have messaged and packaged this up so that people understood it, so people could understand, hey, I hear what you're saying, I empathize with you, but this is where we are economically. These are the jobs that are scheduled to have growth. This is the kind of training that you need to get into these positions. Then the people could position themselves accordingly. They can go get the training they need.
Well, and I'll give a shout out to Trump. You may not like this, but he's already holding rallies. He's already had one in Nevada. See, that's what I'm talking about, talking to the people. Biden might have been better off if he'd done more of that.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Tim. I'm not disagreeing with you. But what I'm saying is, you got a lot of people out here who, because he sits up there and goes on stage and says something, they believe it. And no matter what lie he tells, he could tell them, hey, you know what? America wasn't a country until I stepped on it. They fucking follow that dumb shit and believe it.
But the liberals are like that too. You know, a man is a woman, a woman is a man.
No.
The liberals will buy some of that.
Nope. You're not going to get away with that one, Tim. Because here's the thing. Even though he had the greatest economy, when he was in office for two terms, do you know how many people said Obama was a terrible president? No, he wasn't. Look at the goddamn numbers.
Yeah, I don't buy into that part.
Right. But then, you know what? I'm going to tell you, to further illustrate your point, bad messaging, most of these people don't know that the Democrats are the only one to ever have a surplus in Bill Clinton. And if you show the math, 12 years of Republicans screwed us up into debt. 8 years of a Democrat, we had a surplus of money. We put a Republican back in Baby Bush for 8 years. He crashed the economy again. We put a Democrat back in 8 years.
Bad messaging. Most of America favored re-electing a Republican on the economy after Biden. They thought Biden sucked at it. So bad messaging.
And whoever said we were in a recession, let me help you out. No, the hell we weren't. We were not. Please, I wish people would learn how to read the economy and what things.
You shouldn't have to do all that. The president should be talking to the people. You shouldn't have to do all that.
I don't disagree, Tim. I do not disagree with you. But you know what the people should do? Educate themselves.
I agree with that too. But yeah, the president should certainly make sure that people who are not going to do all that should be, you know, should know, he should get his messaging now. He should sell himself better than that.
He definitely. I'm not disagreeing with you, Tim. You notice we on opposite sides.
All right, then, so we got Trump for 4 more years, then, right? We good?
I'm gonna be okay, Tim.
What do you think about, before I move it on for him, what do you think about him banning trans in the military?
Having served in the military, I'm gonna tell you this: most of these guys who get on here and they talk never stood a watch, never stood a post, and most of them are cowards and they got opinions.
Damn.
If you didn't pick up and serve, don't tell us how it's supposed to be. If you're my brother in arms and you got a problem with it, you, me, and the rest of us, let's go talk about it. Let's go talk about it because it directly impacts us. Because here's the thing: when I gave my oath did not end with the end of my watch. So if something happened, I'm ready to go now.
So you disagree with what he's doing then?
I disagree with it because you know how many guys out here are cowards. You know how many? There's some women who are more manly than some of these guys who are cowards to go stand a watch.
Yeah, I mean, our current, the last.
There are people in that community. There are people in that community who want nothing more than to serve their country.
Yeah.
Pete Buttigieg, he served.
Yeah.
But DJT was a coward.
Mm.
He was a coward.
He wasn't a coward. He had some bone spurs.
Yeah, all right. And Tim, I got this property. I own this bridge in New York. It's by Brooklyn. Y'all
charge too much in tolls. I gotta go though.
Tim, you can make that. I'll sell you the toll booths too.
Oh my Lord. Quinn, appreciate you coming through, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, anytime. Moving on, my YouTube horizontal, like I said, my device doesn't stick to the dash, so I apologize for those who fell down. Anyway, tap the screen. Can we get up to 70? We're getting close. You got some of you folks have been showing the program some love, helping get the likes up. I haven't been up to the 100,000 range in a while, so I'll take 70 if you can. We're at 60. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Smash that like button on YouTube if you will. Yeah, he was a fucking draft dodger. Then Bones for us. He's still dancing on stage. You talking about Trump? So he was a draft dodger, said he had bone spurs, but every time you see him, he's dancing like Twitch on Ellen DeGeneres show, the late Twitch. He does dance a lot. Trump does like to dance a lot. That, you know, the jerking off of two simultaneously. Unemployment down, but looking out my window, I can see 20 people outside on Finney right now. You talking about on fentanyl? I don't think being on, if you got an addiction, the economy is not going to affect that. I mean, once you got an addiction, getting access to that is like medicine. You're going to find a way to do that, even if it means selling your body. I mean, you're going to sell whatever you got. I mean, that's a different story. The economy is not going to tell you the true tale on whether, if you're looking at drug users to decide if the economy is good or not. I mean, people going to find a way to get that. Stallone, what is that? Sylvester Stallone also dodged the draft and went on to play an angry vet. We love. You said he played Rambo. Wow, I didn't know Did Stallone really dodge the draft? Wow. Hey Tim, did you get a chance to look at Tim Walsh doing the exact same thing that Musk did? And I mean exactly. No, I did not, and I'm not going to have a good time with my YouTube thing here falling down constantly. Let me go back to the box. Trump lies about just about everything, and people just believe it, says facts only. I don't know if he lies about everything, but I do know he does not always tell the truth. And when he doesn't tell the truth, there are people that do believe him. I'm sure of that, because I still have a problem with many things he said about the 2020 election. Many things. And now that he's back in office, I don't expect him to prove the stuff he said was true. I just don't. I mean, now that Trump is back in office, controlling all the mechanisms of government, he should be obligated to prove some of that stuff. You got a lot of people killed. I'm not killed, but you got a lot of people arrested, and a lot of people, fucked their lives up, at least temporarily, until you pardoned them. But people lost their jobs. They lost relationships. People probably lost their houses and cars. I mean, you should have to prove what you told them, which led them to act that way, was true. So we'll see. He has 3 and damn near 4 years remaining. Let's see how much evidence he presents that the 2020 election was stolen. If he presents nothing and we start just looking at it, that was in the past, let's just move on, then that means it wasn't true. You shouldn't be trying to sweep something under the rug that is a historical event now. He should be trying to prove that. So if he doesn't, my opinion, if he doesn't prove it, it's because it didn't happen. Trump, let me see here real quick in the comments. I'm still fucking with this YouTube. I'm moving on with the program. Congrats, Big Dog. Appreciate what it says, lit up hat. I didn't see that. Hat and mustache. Thank you, Big Dog and Mike. Appreciate you folks that sent that. I didn't see it. No, I don't think he's going to produce proof of it either, but he should. Do you support transgender kids, says Tony. I consider myself an ally of the transgender community. I'm not a fan of allowing a child to make permanent alterations to their body, if that's what you're talking about. But if a kid wants to walk around and put a dress on and they think they're part of the other gender, do I believe the kid should be forced to continue being a male when they think they're female? I'm up in the air on it. I would want to really mentally evaluate the kid, because the reason why I'm saying that is because there are members of the LGBTQIA community that were prohibited from expressing themselves, and it led to them taking their lives. I mean, just think. I think most of my audience, most of us are straight. Most of us are heterosexual. Can you imagine living a life? Let's say, for instance, the norm in this country was homosexual, but you're born heterosexual. You like the opposite sex, but society tells you you should like the same sex. Can you imagine living your life trying to appease your parents and please your society by engaging in a homosexual? Can you imagine how you'd feel? You got the same sex person all over. You don't want nothing to do with it. Can you imagine how icky that would feel? That is what has led a lot of these folks to take their own life. So when you say a child, I would have to evaluate it, because you could really ruin somebody mentally, forcing them to be something they're not. I mean, because we think they should do this when it's just like before interracial marriage was legal. If you like these type of people, but your family and society is forcing you to be with these type of people, you could end up marrying somebody and developing an entire relationship with somebody you have no interest in. You're just doing it to make sure your dad and your society is happy about it. Maybe your pastor is happy, when you really have no love at all for this person. I would say these people, folks like that, need to be evaluated. I think that forcing our beliefs on others can cause mayhem. Let me go back to the box. Continue. Any of you folks seen the movie American History X? The little kid that had hate forced on him at the end of the movie takes somebody's life in the bathroom or something like. I mean, some people don't want your ideology forced on them. You can really ruin somebody doing that. Robert Porter, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. They say don't let kids be themselves. Yeah, that's what's happening in that case for sure. Mr. Porter, good afternoon or good evening.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Good to have you back on.
Y'all are all over the place, man.
Rein me in. Rein it in. Rein it in.
That y'all. No, what I'm saying is, y'all talk about, well, how's it feel? How would you imagine it would feel to live in a, like, you feeling like you're the opposite sex as a child? You're feeling that way.
What's wrong with that?
What about people that are homeless? How they feel? How about people that have mental health issues and they got to live like that? A lot of people in a lot of different situations. It's just not transgender. There's not even a big group of transgender. I don't even know why it's an issue, because the population of transgender.
Hate is the reason it's an issue.
Of the population of that.
But you're asking, why is it an issue? Hate is the reason it's an issue.
Well, why are we worried about how it feels to live that way when no one asks us how it feels for these children out here? Because I live right next door to somebody that has 2 children, right? 2 boys, and both of them have mental problems. And you know what? When they turn 18, guess where they got to go? So you got to go to an institution.
So if
That's
I'm
what they do with those type of children. So how do you think they feel?
So if I'm correct, the point you're making is we don't do a damn thing for the mentally ill or the homeless in this country. So we should also not do a damn thing for the transgender community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I mean, how is one better than the other? I mean, if you're going to focus on that, focus on all of them. Focus on all of it. Not just one group of people. Focus on the mental health. Focus on transgender, but do it together at the same time. Don't do one over the other.
I don't. Okay, I don't know where to go with that. I mean, I don't hear anybody talking about doing anything for them.
I hear you up here talking about how it feels about a child that's transgender, but I don't hear you up here feeling about all these homeless children that ain't eating, children that go home on weekends from school and the only food they get is at school. I don't hear you promoting that.
We talk about.
I hear you always promoting shit like transgender, controversial stuff. We should, you know what I'm saying? We should get our priorities straight.
We talk about
first.
We talk about
take care of us before we take care of anybody.
Okay.
Anything.
Okay, and let me get in here somewhere. When you say we should take care of us before we take care of other stuff, we don't give a fuck about. Hold on. You've covered a lot. We don't care about the people in this country. All the stuff you're talking about, homeless and the mentally ill. You got the right. Let's say, for instance, when somebody takes lives at a school shooting, the left says it's the guns, the right says it's mentally ill. Now, we know in left-wing cities, they start doing all kinds of stuff or at least trying to ban guns. The right says what they're doing is ridiculous, but you can see that the left thinks it's guns and they start trying to pass laws. The right says it's mentally ill. What the hell are they doing towards mental illness in right-wing areas? Nothing. So they don't care about what you're talking about.
That's what I'm pointing. This ain't about Republican, Democrat. This is about our government, both sides of the aisle. All the left does is use it to get control of our guns by using these school stuff and all the stuff that happens with children and pew-pews. All they use it for is politics to try to control us and take our guns away. They're not trying to find a solution to fix the child who went into the school with the pew-pew to unalive a bunch of people.
Is the right trying to find a solution?
It's a goddamn political propaganda that we're doing.
Okay, so is the right trying to find a solution?
We care.
Huh?
But we don't.
So nobody cares?
Nobody, because everybody's like, oh, we need to do something about guns. We need to do something about mental health. But nothing ever gets done because we still have people that can't even get help in mental health. And we still got kids going to school with pew-pews.
So in other words, we don't care about the children in this country.
No, we really don't, because if we did, we wouldn't spend millions of dollars on immigrants coming across the border. We wouldn't give Ukraine $190 billion. We wouldn't give all this money away if we really cared about our own country and the people that live here. Because we have all this money we put out just in the past 4 years. Do you know how much good it could have done if we just had a quarter of that money put back in our country, back for the people, what they need?
And you started out by telling me I never addressed these issues. You've never heard me talk about exactly what you just said. Never?
I'm just tired of all that. Everybody wants to get a talking point like, okay, migrants, okay. And then everybody wants to throw their opinion on what migrants, who's right, who's wrong, who wants them here, who don't, who wants to pay their use their taxes for them. I don't really care about them. I care about the children here. I care about the homeless here. I care about the mental health that we have already in America. I care about what's going on in America.
Okay,
I don't care what's going on in Ukraine.
And here's the way
my money should not go on Ukraine. Yeah. My money should not go on migrants. My money should go on the children, the women, and the people that are right here in America.
And here's the response I've said about this, even though you said you never heard it. What I've said all the time is
I
that.
haven't. I'm sorry, Tim.
But give me a moment. Give me a moment. I'll let you collect yourself. Give me a moment. This is what I've often said: is that the haves in this country do not give a damn about the poor. The only thing they want to spend money on is things they get something back from. We're sending money to the Ukraine because if they establish their sovereignty, they will owe us favors. It will lead to weapons contracts. It will lead to finances coming back to this country. Helping out the homeless and the mentally ill, all that shit you're talking about, you don't get a return on that. That's why they're helping out Israel and all these countries. They're getting a return on their money. I'll give you another example. You talk about we should help out each other before sending money to the Ukraine and all this stuff. When Obama was trying to pass universal health care, there wasn't any money going to the Ukraine, and we still didn't want to do it. Tuition assistance, all of this stuff the main recipient of all of that stuff would be Americans. And we didn't want to do any of that. And there was no money going overseas like that. And they still didn't want to do it.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And it's sad that we don't care about each other. Because at the end of the day, we're not sitting behind gated fences with men with pews protecting us.
We're
out
lean
here in the real world.
Do you not lean right?
You know what? I lean American. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm in the middle of between right and left.
Who'd you vote for?
I couldn't vote this year. I couldn't at all because I didn't get my paperwork in time.
Who was the last person you voted for?
Trump.
Who would you have voted for if you had a chance this time?
Oh, Trump.
All right.
I voted for Trump.
So you look at Trump and see that he cares about poor Americans.
But I don't like everything about Trump. I don't like every policy, everything. And for that one you had on there earlier, if he said he stopped on the world and said he made it, I wouldn't believe it. Okay. So not all people that voted for Trump think that he's God or that he's the orange God or something, because we don't. If the man unalive somebody on the corner tomorrow and I saw it, I'm telling.
And they would kill you.
It don't matter, but it's the right thing to do,
you would tell them MAGA. You'd have a whole bunch of MAGA showing up at your house that night.
You know what? You're probably absolutely correct. But you know what? I did the right thing.
All right.
Integrity is everything, my brother and a man.
You starting to sound like Mike Pence all of a sudden. I think you more of a traditional Republican. You ain't MAGA.
No, I mean I'm hardcore. I mean I believe in a lot of stuff he wants to do, but I'm not worship. I'm not brainwashed. I'm not worship. I believe in America. I believe in the people here.
Let me ask you that.
I want to see go first. I want to see my next neighbor succeed. I want to see us prosper in this country.
Okay,
why do we always got to have poor and rich? They're trying to do away with the middle class.
Because you favor, your side favors capitalism, not socialism. That environment is gonna be poor and rich. If you have a capitalist country, capitalism is not fair. It allows the wealthy to snowball on the poor. You're gonna always have poor and rich in that environment.
I agree with you. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: since you said you're not just falling for the okie doke, or you're not just blindly following Trump. In your opinion, who won the 2020 election?
I think it was stolen. You want to know the truth? That's just my
I want
opinion.
to know the truth.
Because there was so many things. Just like, for instance, you know how he's letting go of the Kennedy file? What for? Everybody already knew who did it. Because if you know William Cooper, one of the highest naval intelligence officers, he wrote a book called Behold a Pale Horse. And in the book, he tells you the driver, the Secret Service driver, is the one that reached around and unalived Kennedy.
Who stole the election?
Why do you think his wife in the video crawls to the back of the car? She's crawling out to see, because she's seen it all.
So
why do you think they never interview her?
Okay, who do you think stole the 2020 election?
Obama. He was part of it.
He's not.
George Soros, he was part of it.
Huh.
Yeah. They have power and money, man. They can. I mean, Obama's daddy was the 15th richest man in the world, his stepfather.
Where was Obama born?
I don't know where he was born at. I don't. They say Hawaii. They say Hawaii, but I don't know.
You're not for sure he was born in Hawaii?
No, because you remember Sheriff Chapayo, whatever, who...
Joe Arpaio, yeah.
Two independent people gave him the information. How you doing, buddy? The information, and they wanted to investigate it, and they sent his birth certificate to two sides of the world, to two experts that don't even know each other, and it came back that it was tampered with. And I'm just saying what I read, so don't take me as
fair enough. Now Trump is suggesting that the whole Stormy Daniels thing was made up, trying to
I don't think so. I think he banged her out and he tried to hide it.
Okay, we're getting somewhere now. I was about to say.
Hey man, I'm only human, brother.
All right.
I'm a man too.
All right, so we got two. We got 1 out of 3. All right.
Yeah, he can't pull that shit over me. I already know.
Okay.
Just like Clinton couldn't pull it over me in the Oval Office.
All right.
When he denied it at first, I already knew he did. He's a man. Come on.
He said it didn't happen. He said it was made up.
Yeah, well, maybe the way maybe the payment situation was messed up because there was a lot of things they couldn't introduce, but.
All right, Robert, I do got to move it on, but I got to move it on. But I got one more question.
I don't know.
I got to move it on, but I do got one more I want to ask you before you go. You can give me your opinion on this. Simple question: what happened on January 6th?
That was a situation to where people were supposed to be protesting, and a few people got violent, and what it did was it wasn't as everybody calls it, a insurrection, because you can't do that to your own government, but that's why they never charged him. But it wasn't good. I really don't even know what to say, but it was just a bad day. And I believe that it didn't help with him telling them to go there, but he did say go peacefully because we are the party of law. But there's all people who get carried away, man. You can't control people when you tell 2,000 people to go somewhere and you get them all together and they're all outside and they're all talking and they're all rowdy, and then boom, a couple knuckleheads just light it off, and then next thing you know, you find yourself deep down inside the building and you're doing stupid.
Do you think because you said you know already you can't control people, so you can expect something might happen. Do you think he's responsible for any of that took place there that day?
I think the reason I'll say no, and let me explain, is because I don't believe any man's responsible for another man's actions, but I don't believe by what he said helped the situation. Do you understand what I mean?
So when you say no man
he could have just left it alone and didn't bring up the Capitol, go down there, none of that.
So when you say no man is responsible for another man's actions, so you're kind of making it clear that blaming the FBI and Ray Epps makes no sense, because you're saying one man is responsible for another man's actions. So you're exonerating.
It doesn't matter who you blame, because each man, I'm a man, and I'm responsible for my actions. I'm not responsible for yours. You're not responsible for the next man. And I didn't run down there, and I love Trump. I think he's cool. Trump's all right with me. But I didn't run down to the Capitol, you understand? Mm-hmm. And the Capitol's not that far. I live in Virginia. So it's about a 3-hour ride.
Okay,
but enough. I didn't go. He didn't make me feel like I needed to rush down there, and you understand? But there are all types of people that make up this world, and some of them are not quite as sound in the mind as others.
Insane in the membrane. I got to move it on.
You get what I'm saying? So I say you can't put blame on the FBI. You can't blame, them as being a setup. You can't blame Trump. Every man has to take responsibility. But I feel what Trump said could have just been left out. But that's Trump.
I would submit to you the whole entire protest could have been left out. I mean, I don't know what they were planning on doing.
That's what I mean. It could have just been left out. If he would have never said it, it would have never happened.
All right. Appreciate it, Robert. Thanks for coming through. All right, good talk. Moving on with the program. Tap the screen. You know what I'm asking you folks to do. On both sides, there are crazy people, got to admit. There's crazy folks on both sides. I do agree, but I got a little bit of a difference of opinion in my last call. Damon, are you enjoying your food prices rising and no medical care, no social security, the price rise in prescriptions? Trump revoked Biden's cap on medications, the dismantlement of the education. Damn, you got a whole lot of stuff there, Charlie, and I've heard a lot of it. Wow. All right. What the hell? It must be MAGA Monday, says Michael. I love my MAGA. I've had a few come over. Like I said, we get more liberals, but it is nice to have some folks from the other side come through as well. Tap the screen. Get the likes on up. We're getting close to 80. Guys, we can make 80,000 happen. Certainly if you show the program some love. We'll definitely continue on. The one and only Mike. Good evening, Mike.
Oh, my God.
Rough day, huh? Rough day at the office.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
It is a rough day at the office. The funny thing is, everything. Do you understand? And I'm going to ask you a question by asking you a question. Do you understand the 14 tenets of fascism?
I've read them, and I know there's a lot of. Yeah, I've read. I'll just say I've read them. Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm sure I'm sure because as soon as you bring that up, they think you're crazy. But you've read them.
Yeah.
You tell me, out of the 14 that you read or you can remember, I can see this by the look in your face already. How many align with everything that we hear from Trump and his administration and supporters? How many, Tim?
I think I was able to say 13 last time. I think I found one I could push. I'd have to see them again. It's been a while because they were floating around social media. I've had a lot of debates on them, but
you said you found one that you could maybe push back on.
There's a lot of similarities. I'll just say that.
Man, listen, and I encourage everyone. Just look it up. Don't listen to me. Look it up. Because everything that we're hearing and seeing is exactly that. All of it. All of it. And it's sad when we're talking about the military, we're talking about transgender, we're talking about all that. It's all, if you read the 14 tenets, it's all there. We've been talking about it forever. Nobody believes. Project 2020 Project 2025 was written based on those tenets, and that's what we're seeing right now. It is not even close. All that stuff they were just talking is crazy to me.
But keep in mind,
it's crazy.
But keep in mind, it ain't like Trump is doing anything that he did not promise, Mike. The guy, you can't blame the guy for making a promise and then when he get elected, delivering on his promise. Is he not doing promises made, promises kept? Is he not doing that?
He is doing those things. It's the way that we excuse the things that he's doing, right? It's the way that his supporters, but again, that's the cult of personality, because that's how supporters act. You asked about transgenders, and you asked about removing immigrants that are
birthright citizenship.
No, well, first you're talking about
incarcerated immigrants. Right. Yeah.
Right. Well, here's my issue with this. If they've been incarcerated, they've been there. They're there for a reason. Aren't they supposed to serve their time and then be deported?
No.
That's how the law.
No, that's actually not true. If you commit a crime in the U.S., they can either hold you here or they can send you home, and sometimes they make an agreement with your home country that you'll do your sentence there.
Okay, that does happen. You're right. So both things happen.
Okay.
So both things happen. You're sentencing. When you get done, you get deported.
Right.
Here's my thing. That's not what he was saying.
What do you mean?
And that's not only what they're. If that's your sole goal, the problem is there's no integrity the way they move, because they say one thing and they do another. What I mean by that is, if we're just targeting criminals, which he did not just say targeting criminals, because he did say that there would be certain U.S. citizens or certain that would be caught up in the deportation. He did say that.
Yeah.
Yes or no, Tim?
But you know something? Hold on. You talking about Trump's borders are? He made a good point. He said, "Look, if the liberals will just let us go into the jails and deport these people, it actually reduces collateral, folks that, that may be here illegally, but they haven't done anything wrong." He said, because by you not letting us go into the jails, when these people are roaming around society, they're going to be living with folks that chances are there's people in that house. It might be kids in that house that do not have a legal right to be. He said, once we encounter somebody, they got to go too. So if you sent us only in the jails, we wouldn't have contact with them.
Was he saying that when they ran on that, Tim?
No.
Okay. So and now why is that important? Because context matters.
Yeah.
They're always talking about fucking context.
Yeah.
You want to say it on the heels of you do understand that just going into a home or a church where you suspect someone to be is violating rights. Right?
Not anymore. It ain't gonna be by the time he's done.
Which is what I'm talking about. And so I saw Trey in the comments. He always has something to say when I'm up here. Trey, Trump did say that. There was going to be collateral damage by doing this mass deportation. He did say that, Trey. All you got to do is look it up. But at the end of the day, where's the humanity in what we're talking about? If you wanted to go in, he should have ran on that. He didn't run on that. He didn't stand up in front of. What he said was other countries are opening up their prisons and letting all these people pour into our country. Yeah. He never said that he was talking about going into prisons and removing those that had already been convicted of crimes. He didn't say that. Because here's the thing. When you're talking about mass deportation and raiding, if you know where they are, what are you raiding?
Yeah. And something I said before, to me, it's like the ban on guns or the ban on abortion. You start off with something that people agree on, and then you move on deeper into it. Like the ban on guns, let's start off with ARs, and the right pushes back, because we know once you ban ARs and the shootings go down, the next step is going to be pistols and shotguns. We know what the goal is to take guns. That's what Trump is doing, in my opinion. Let's start with criminals, because we know a lot of people will agree with getting rid of criminals. But once you get rid of the criminals, then the next step is going to probably be grandmas and things like that. People know that there is a step beyond criminals. That's why they're resisting, because they know that the quicker we help you get rid of criminal immigrants, the quicker it's going to help you get to the people that we do want to keep in the country.
That is true. That's why people are pushing back. It's not that they don't want. You know what's crazy? This misnomer that the left doesn't want secure or safe borders, all that. That's all part of the tenets. that's not true at all. But they have to sell it in a way that makes people fear.
Yeah.
What they're saying. That's just the bottom line.
Well, it's certainly working.
And the first guy that came up, hey, Lindsey Graham, I told you, Lindsey Graham said it, and it's working. Lindsey Graham said in 2012, our problem is we don't have enough young, angry white men.
Angry white men. Yeah, he did say that.
He did say that too, right, Tim?
Yep.
You know, because some people think I'm coming up here and I'm just spewing this stuff. That's what he said, and that's what you've had up here, right?
Yep.
This whole idea that being in the military, don't you got to qualify to get in the military? Yep. Don't you have to go through a process and procedure?
That is true.
And right, so if they did that, whoever it is, if they did that, and they're willing to sign up for that oath and commit to the military, who cares? What difference does it make? They're willing to do something for this country that others are not.
So you would, it's safe to say you would be against banning trans in the military.
Yeah, listen, I'm against banning anybody that wants to go protect this country and serve this country and protect.
You're breaking up.
Against threats, foreign and domestic.
So
that's what they're signing up for.
Yeah, I was under the impression that the only issue we had was preventing transgender ideology from being shoved down the throats of children. But now that we're starting to look into it, it just looks like he doesn't like the transgender community altogether, because he's constantly coming up with orders and executive action that is anti-trans. It just looked like he don't like those people.
Oh, yep, which is the fifth tenet of fascism. So, all I'm saying is, yeah, it is. It's the fifth tenet of fascism.
Okay, all right.
It's rampant sexism, and then the second one is the disdain for the recognition of human rights. Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
I mean, he's only been in office for he was inaugurated last Monday. He's already passed a law. Like I said, today was banning them in the military. I think he made it so that you can't transition on your documents. So if you're born a male, you got to remain a male for the rest of your life. You can't transition. And then he said that, there's only two genders. He done passed a lot of anti-trans stuff that has nothing to do with keeping it away from kids. It looks like he don't like those people.
100, which is why. So listen, if you know that that's the person or the entity or their ideology, that's who we're talking about, why would you give them favor on anything they're telling you? Because it's the first step to what they really want to get to. Yeah. You just said it. So if he's doing it with everything, and everyone that comes up here makes an excuse for it, to the point where they get themselves twisted in pretzels trying to make sense of it. The humanity part, again, I would encourage anyone up here, anyone that's, just go, if you don't believe what I'm saying, just go read it. Just read the 14 tenets and you'll see everything that he's talking about and doing is part of their design. And to your point, Tim, they've been saying it. Yeah. They've been saying it, and things aren't going to get better. But yesterday, you didn't bring me up yesterday, and I didn't want to forget. Kevin J., the guy that was on your show yesterday, Kevin J., I have respect for that guy, because at least he told us his story about him being in the I forgot what the name.
Oh, the guy with the white supremacist guy, the former white supremacist. Yeah, he was good. He was a good caller.
He was really good, but you know what he did? He went and learned. He went and read. Yeah. He went and read. He went and looked at some things and said, "Oh, it's not what I thought." But again, and I saw somebody in the comments, but see, this is where it gets boring, right? Somebody said, "Please kick me because I'm boring." Because see, facts are boring. I'm not sensationalizing anything. This stuff that we're reading and this what we're experiencing is right in front of us. It's not like you can hide it. It's right in front of us. It's right in front of us. One of the guys and I saw Alter Ego had mentioned the guy that got unalived by the police, who was a J6, got released. It was a J6 rider. He got released. He got unalived by the police the other day, right, when they tried to pull him over.
I heard a J6 protester was in custody and they got pardoned. One of them been killed?
Yeah, he was driving, and I think he got out in July, but he was driving. They pulled him over. He was trying to resist arrest, and then he got unalived by a police officer. This was in Indiana.
Damn.
This was in Indiana.
So he died a pardoned man.
I guess. But here's my point. Here's my point.
Go ahead.
So He was there. And so he's got, and I'm bringing this up because there's always this, like your first caller today, there's always this whatabouts. Well, that thing happened, and that to demonize an entire group. If I'm using their logic, can I demonize every J6er as being violent? Because this J6er that got released got into it with the police officer, back to blue, by the way, and was unalive. What are we talking about? We got to stop doing this whataboutism and just call it what it is. If we truly care. If we don't care, then just say you don't care. Because at the end of the day, we're lying to ourselves, and families are being impacted by this.
I think it's what you just said. People don't care. They care about BLM and what other folks do. They don't care about what MAGA did. I think that's what, like Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt would have been viewed as, a fuck around and find out victim all day long, but they viewed her as one of the team. So in this case, we're going to extend an olive branch to her and say what happened to her was wrong. But if she was anybody else doing exactly the same thing, she would have been, look, fuck around and found out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's sad because people are being unalive or indoctrinated based on these principles, and they're willfully going. And then at the end of the day, the very people you're following could give a damn about you, because if you don't have a certain amount of zeros behind your name, they don't give a damn. They do not give a damn. I told you the other day when Vivek, quote unquote, left, I got the air quotes up right now. When Vivek left, he was just in the way. He had the wrong complexion for the protection. He was in the way because he didn't have that many zeros. He got a lot, but he don't have that many. So get your ass over there, and I don't think he's going to win the governorship of Ohio.
They threw that my boy Vivek. So you telling me Vivek left because he doesn't have the complexion for the position, and you don't think he's going to be governor? So he's going to be in no man's land.
Okay, and instead of, I'll answer your question with the question back to you. Show me somebody that has that complexion that's still around in this cabinet right now.
Well, not in the cabinet, but I think Tim Scott doing all right.
And where's Tim Scott right now? When's the last time you heard? You don't even know if Tim Scott's still alive. When's the last time you seen Tim Scott?
I know he loves Trump. I love you, man.
We know he loved Trump. We know he loved Trump. I said, when's the last time you've seen him on the platform or speaking at all with them, Tim?
Did he speak at the RNC? He spoke at the RNC, didn't he?
That was at the RNC. I said since he's been, you heard what I said. Since he has been elected. When was the last time you seen him, Tim?
Maybe he's over there working on the Russian Putin thing. Maybe he's trying to end the Ukraine war. He's a diplomat.
Look, and then what about the comment about cleaning out Gaza? Did you talk about that?
Yeah, you talking about the genocide, Clay. Oh.
Well, did you hear what Trump said?
Yeah, I heard what he said. They
clean it out, right?
Yeah, they've been playing that. I've heard it.
So what does that mean to you?
Nothing good.
And nothing good. But all the people that were saying, well, he's doing exactly what we said he was going to do. You know what clean it out means? It goes back to what was his, when Don Jr. has said, this would be good, this would be good, what did he call it? Remember back when Trump was in office the first time, they were talking about cleaning it out and building some high rises and stuff over there. You remember?
Oh, you mean regentrification almost like.
Uh-huh.
Well, you can't clean out Gaza. I mean, you're talking about just let Israel take it over and kill all the inhabitants?
Well, when you say clean out, come on. How inhumane is that word? It's not misinformation. Truth Seeker Forever. Just look it up.
No, it ain't misinformation. He absolutely said it. I heard it today. No, he didn't. It ain't misinformation, but people can say it. What they're going to do is say your interpretation of it is wrong.
Well, of course, our interpretation is always wrong until it's right?
Yeah, that's what.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna go. They can say whatever they want. The scary part is, if I'm wrong, then I'm just wrong. But if I'm right, we're screwed.
It's bad. It's real bad.
Because even Egypt pushed back on what he said.
So did Jordan.
And Jordan pushed back on what he said. Okay, so we just.
Yeah, it's like the Elon Musk thing when he did the salute, and folks are saying it was only a term of endearment, but then you got people in Germany like, no, that was bullshit. It's always a case of don't believe your lying eyes. Like, people can see what you're doing, and you're telling the people, no, what you think you saw, you didn't see. So, or what you think you heard, you didn't hear.
You didn't hear it, Tim. You didn't hear it. I didn't hear what you just said.
Yeah.
You know, because why would I? And the crazy part is this. And the crazy part is this. at the end of the day, all of those protest votes about Palestinians and all of that, now you got to ask yourself, what did it all mean? Just to use the word clean out, just clean out.
Boy, he ain't going to be able to do that. You would piss off the whole Middle East.
Again, it doesn't matter whether he can do it. The fact that he's in that space where he would just say it.
That he did do.
You know, I told you, from behind that desk, what you say matters. And just saying all this crazy shit is not who should be representing any country, let alone the United States, if we are who we say we are.
Bro, 4 more years is where he's at. I got to go.
Crazy shit, man. All right, bro.
That's your boy. Appreciate it. All right. Look on in the comments. Someone asked, do you think there are 2 genders or 577 trillion of them? I'm going to go with at least 2. You know, we know that there are, what they used to call them, hermaphrodites or something. I mean, you could be born with the genitalia of both sexes, or maybe 2 of your own. There has to be a way to refer to those people. So there has to be more than 2, because you can be born with things that are, you can be born with 2 vaginas, 2 penises, no vagina, I mean, there are other things out there. So there has to be more than just 2. Now, also the case becomes, do we judge gender based on what you see or what you feel? I'm assuming on the right, it's going to be solely on what you see. What you feel doesn't give a damn. It doesn't matter. Fuck your feelings, so to speak. Doesn't matter that you feel like you prefer to be with same sex. I'm going to go with what I see, and the Bible says you should be with this. So I'm going to go with, I don't know. But when you're talking about gender, what is it based on? I mentioned before, my opinion on gender is that I go by the chromosome thing. There are chromosomes that represent a woman. There's chromosomes that represent a man. You can have a different set of combination, but whatever, the XY, XX, Y, and whatever the hell it is, I'm going to go with that. God said he created man and woman. Don't think you know more than the creator. I might not agree that he's the creator there, Miss Bojangles. You said God said he created man and woman. Don't think you know. As far as I'm concerned, whatever you read that says God created man and woman came from a man. You didn't sit there on a park bench and God came and sat beside you and whispered it in your ear. Wherever you got that from, it was written by man. We know men are flawed. You ever seen the experiment in school? You whisper in somebody's ear and they whisper in another and another and another. By the time the story comes back to you, it's completely fucked up. How is it possible that maybe the Bible is not like that? We know the Bible is written in a language that did not even exist at the time of Jesus Christ. So somebody had to interpret it to a whole nother language. You don't think there's some possibility for some errors there? We know at that time, paper had not been invented. So you got your hands on a book that's hundreds of pages long, and all of that material came about during the time before the invention of paper. How many caves would it take to write on the walls what the Bible says? You get 500 plus pages of text, hundreds of pages of text. The only way to write back then was scrolls and on the walls of a cave. You would need the entire Himalayas to write that shit. So I'm going to say it's safe to assume, based on the fact that men are flawed, that a lot of that stuff in there was interpreted by man and may have not been right. I went my entire childhood to a church where the picture of Jesus was on the wall that was probably 20 foot high or more. Blue-eyed white guy. I think the scientists make it clear that that would not have happened in that region now. So we know also that some folks changed a few details, maybe in favor of dominating and being the one in charge. So I'm just going to say we know for a fact that some of that stuff was not interpreted correctly. We just don't know how much of it. But we know all of that wasn't interpreted word for word correctly. So when you say someone sat down and told you God created man and woman, if you didn't sit down and hear it from the good man himself, how do I know that? I mean, keep in mind, when was the last time you seen a talking snake? Isn't that in there too? That a snake had a conversation with two people and convinced them to do something. What was the snake's name? Ray-Epps? When have you seen a snake have a conversation with a human being? That was in there. So understand that man interpreted this stuff. Maybe he got some things wrong. I'm just simply saying it. Anyway, looking in the comments, but what is the argument exactly? The argument is people are flawed. People are flawed. When the Dead Sea was only sick, the Bible is the word of God. Yeah, the Bible is the interpretation of the word of God by man at a time when neither the paper is written on or the language it was written in was in existence. I'm just imagine all of that stuff that's in the Bible being told to you or maybe 1,000 of your friends, and you have to write it down and keep track of it with no paper, no pencil. You gotta maintain all of those scriptures, and you don't have access to paper or pencil. And then you gotta translate what was written down to a different language. So let's say you get 1,000, 10,000 people, you name it. How many humans you want? All of the stuff you learn from him, you have to convey that to future generations. You have no pencil, you have no paper, and the future generations that are going to read it is going to be read in a different language. You think they might not make a few errors in there somewhere? You don't think there's any possibility of any errors being in there? It's all going to be perfect. Just want to tell you that. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make. I grew up on the Bible. I grew up in church. That doesn't make sense, though. I mean, it's going to be a few errors in there somewhere. I don't care if you had 50,000 human beings listening to what he said. They don't have any pencil, no paper, and they got to write down something for future generations to read that is going to be read in a different language. There is just so many avenues for errors to take place that I got to assume some of that ain't right. Looking in the comments, continuing on, somebody said it goes, Johnny D says it goes straight over their heads. I hope not. I think it's logical. I think if you agree that man is flawed, why would you think his interpretation would be perfect? We all know, man, doesn't the Bible even admit that human beings are flawed? Why would you think the interpretation would be perfect with all of those hurdles in there? English didn't exist back then. Neither did the materials used to write all that stuff down. Plenty of room for missteps all over the place in that. The only people that do not absolutely regret supporting Trump are the billionaires that benefited and the grossly ignorant poor folks. I don't want to say they're grossly ignorant. I mean, there are some intelligent folks that are not fans of the LGBTQ community, for instance. If you don't like the LGBTQ community, you should like Trump. I think he's an ally. I really think he's an ally. God is not flawed, though. It's following his instructions would prevent that, in my opinion. Every human being, according to the Bible, is a sinner. So when you say God is not flawed, so following his instructions would prevent that, in my opinion. Every human being, even the ones that are the most deeply religious, are sinners. So they're not following his instructions properly. No human being is. That's why the book tells you we're all sinners. We're not following his instructions properly. I appreciate what you said, but it's pretty clear by the teachings in the book that he didn't expect us to follow his teachings properly. That's why you got heaven and hell in there, is because he's telling you people mess up. I didn't want to go too deep into the Bible, but I just thought that was funny. Hey, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time. I like that one. Kiss my American ass. Uncle Ruckus, says Jasper Master. Appreciate the criticism. You're obviously new to the program. I go to the box, take another caller. By the way, tap the screen. We're pretty close to 100,000. Wow. Thank you, folks, that showed the program some love. Tap the screen. Go ahead and take the likes up over 100. We can make that happen. We're really close on TikTok. Smash that like button on YouTube as well. You have free will, says, yeah, exactly. Free will guarantees there's going to be people that are not going to take his word. That are not going to take his word as is. Yeah, Jimmy Hummus, yeah, he called me Uncle Ruckus. Fact is, new viewers to the show see an African American, see a MAGA hat, and that's all they need to see. They don't listen to any of the show. If you listen to the show, you would know that doesn't fit. But anybody who tunes in and see a black person speaking with a MAGA hat in the background, oftentimes they make their opinions based on that alone. If you heard what we talk about here, you'd realize that that's probably inaccurate. But he's entitled to his opinion. I don't block, ban, or censor him. Going back to the box, continuing on, giving TikTok a time to bring, my guest is frozen here. We'll give it a minute to bring up the guest. I'm trying to bring up somebody to bring up live. Sometimes they come in when you're doing devil's advocate. Yeah, that could happen too, Tech Talk. That could happen too. But fact is, anybody coming on the program suggesting that the host is an Uncle Ruckus, they're making their decision pretty fucking quick. If you a few minutes of listening to the program, it doesn't fit. They're making that decision really fast. All this is on visuals only. There we go. Bringing up my next caller. We'll go to Quicksoul, one of my subs. Good evening. I'm curious how to pronounce that name. I've been wondering. Quicksoul, is that what I'm reading?
Quixote.
Quixote.
Yes, man of La Mancha, tilting windmills. You remember, familiar with that character?
No.
It was a book written a while back. It was by a Spaniard. He's supposed to be a knight. He's a little bit off his rocker, and he keeps riding around the countryside, jousting with windmills. It's he's kind of off his rocker a little bit.
Well, the good thing is Trump is talking about getting rid of windmills, so we won't have to worry about that too much. Yeah,
I'll be one of the first one he gets rid of, Tim.
Wow.
But a couple of issues I have here.
Sure.
The first thing is Lindsey Graham and McConnell. We could not be going through what we're going through now as a nation. If they had did what they should have done after the J6 thing happened, we wouldn't have had this issue.
What should they have, just to get clarity, what should they have done after the January 6th?
He should have been impeached. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. To me, I mean, they say he didn't mean it. He didn't mean for them to be violent. But if I round up a group of people and I say, I think we should go over and burn their neighbor's house down, even though I don't go, I will be one of those arrested as being.
That's what happened to the guy who's the leader of the Proud Boys. Is he went down for something similar like that, where he didn't participate, but he's considered as the one. Him and the Oath Keepers got 18 and 22 years in prison. Trump pardoned them, but they went down for that very method you're talking about, where they didn't do it, but they allegedly led the charge.
Right, and I really believe that without Donald doing what he did, saying what he said, and even going as far as, which he didn't do, by the way, but even as far as saying, I will march with you.
Yeah.
To
the Capitol.
That was to me showing that he was part of the thing. Another thing, all this stuff he's just throwing out there. Let's take Panama, for instance. He's saying that we are being ripped off by Panama. It's a security issue. Do you know how much we pay a year for our Navy ships to go through the canal?
It's a lot.
A year now. $1 million.
That's for all of them?
That's all of them. That's all we pay. That is.
You sure about that?
I'm sure. Please do your own research on that. but that's what we pay for our military ships to go
I don't.
out of.
Is that for each one? Or wait,
90 billion?
Is that for each one or what?
No, per year.
We only
That's
pay
per
one. Wait,
year.
hold on. You said we only pay $1 million to use the Panama Canal annually.
Well, 1 million.
I don't think that's accurate.
For our Navy ships.
Oh, just the,
I don't
okay,
want
just
you
the
to take my
Navy.
word for it.
Okay, so just the Navy ships.
You're right.
Well, most
You're
of
right.
yeah,
So
most of the.
therefore, that he cannot say there's a security issue that our ships are unable to get to where you got to go.
Well, most of the ships
But
going
he's
through the
not
Panama.
telling people that.
Yeah, most of the
It's
ships
like
going. Wait,
when he
most of the
says
ships going through the Panama.
costs-
Hold on, hang on. Most of the ships
Go ahead.
going through the Panama
Go ahead.
Canal are not Navy ships, though. Did I lose you?
Right, and we pay $1 million. That's what we pay per year. But no, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I haven't heard. $1 million seem really low.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to keep you on too long, but I have wanted to point these things out. There's two things I'd like to say, and then I'll let you go. I was listening to the gentleman talking about the 14 tenets of
Fascism.
Nazism.
Yeah.
I've been saying that since his first administration. When he said that we're taking in criminals and rapists and all these things, I was wondering why. Well, when a Nazi made the Jews the bad guys, I felt like Donald was making the Latinos the bad guys. So, you know what I'm saying? Obama was known as a great deporter, okay? And he did. I know he built those cages to house people. But he also dealt with DACA. That was, to me, was a beginning point. We wanted to get these people out of the country. We have to. But also, it was like he was giving us a way to start to deal with it humanely. Does that make sense?
Somewhat. I think the difference between Trump and Obama is the bragging that Trump did. I think that if Obama was bragging about what he was doing like Trump did, I think he would have had the same trouble. I think Obama just did it. Trump made it sound like I'm enjoying, I'm doing it as an incentive for people to not come. So he made it sound like he was intentionally separating families as a punishment. Whereas Obama didn't say nothing about it and people didn't know as much. And he got away with it.
That's true. That's true. I can see your point. We'll agree to disagree, but I see your point, though, what you're saying, Tim.
Yeah.
But finally, I like to end it with when that quick story here. I was on TikTok and I saw the young man who did this Martin Luther King speech at the inaugural. Mm-hmm. I got 4 flags that day on TikTok, Tim.
Damn.
I called that man. His name was but a son of God, and I knew. I'm surprised they didn't take my account because I saw the coonish, and I saw Trump standing behind them smiling. When behind, if you look at the pictures, look at Trump as he's standing there and smile while the guy is performing. But when that pastor, which we all have gone to church, whether we Jewish or Muslim or we learned one thing, and one thing was always prevalent: love your brother as you love yourself. Do well to others. That's what her main thing. She said, "Sir, have a little humility. Remember, people out there are afraid." And all the derogatory things. The woman is getting hate content because all she said was saying, I felt like.
Yeah, they didn't like that. They didn't like that at all. I mean, you challenge Trump, it comes with consequences. And she challenged him in church.
Just be a better man. What any religion that you're involved
They
in.
believe that
That's
Trump is trying to be a better man by securing his nation, and that woman was a bleeding heart liberal tree hugger, and they didn't like what she did. I got to move it on, but that's what happened. They don't like her challenging them.
Once again, I see your point, but it just would, to me, it has no rhyme or reason. Just be a better man. That's all.
Hopefully we deal with that. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming through. Good to see you on this side. Thank you, though. Appreciate your support. Definitely appreciate your support on YouTube. It helps the program, so absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it, man. All right, moving on to the program. Jesus will be liberal today. What just happened? Did I end the live? Oh shit! I hit the wrong button. I think I took down the damn TikTok. Well, let me read real quick in the comments on YouTube. Greetings from Germany. Wow, where you at in Germany? I used to have a girlfriend over there. They explain tariffs in the first 3 minutes of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I saw you said that before. Ace Ventura. I'm going to have to go watch that. That's from the 80s. I haven't seen that movie. Belinda Harding, thank you for the sub. Appreciate you folks that do subscribe to the program. Feel free to follow on TikTok, but my TikTok just went down for some reason. So thank you folks that are following. Jesus literally speaks against all liberal beliefs as the Bible does. That ain't true, Mr. Good Citizen. I'll give you a perfect example. The Last Supper would be considered socialist by Republicans. Giving away free bread, the right wouldn't be okay with that. So you say the Bible speaks against all liberal, what did you just say? All liberal, I didn't see where you said something about speaking against all liberalism or something. Ah, damn, I lost the comment. But yeah, absolutely. There are plenty of things that liberals do that the Bible would be in favor of. I don't think the Bible would be against universal health care. I don't think the Bible would be against free lunch in free lunch in schools and food stamps for kids. They wouldn't be against that stuff. That stuff. I'll just say this. I don't think if we had Jesus here, I don't think he would be in favor of capitalism, period. All of the greed that comes, isn't that part of the 10 Commandments? I don't think Jesus would favor capitalism at all, because capitalism is me, me, me. No matter how much you think Elon Musk is a shining example of what the Bible would want? Some one dude worth, $250 billion? I don't think in areas where people are actually homeless, simultaneously homeless people, I don't think saying that we're going to focus on America first, the wealthiest nation on earth, is saying we're going to stop sending money overseas and we're only going to focus on us. The wealthiest group of people on earth are only going to take care of themselves. I don't think Jesus will be okay with that. I don't think Jesus will be okay with how this nation was founded. Whether it's the Native Americans, the African Americans, women, I don't see it at all. I don't see any of that. I think people are picking and choosing where they want to follow Jesus and where they don't. I don't see any of that. Jesus would be more disgusted with Trump than he was with Caesar. Damn. And by the way, Trump is on video saying he's not a Christian. He's never asked God for forgiveness. Take it as you may. Frankie, he's fair if you actually listen. Man, come from a MAGA support. His only economic system he would approve of. He would then tell people and not to government to pick up the slack. I don't think Jesus would be a fan of, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I fuck around and find out some of this stuff. I don't think Jesus would be a fan of that stuff. I just don't. That's one reason that I've gotten away from religion, is that people suggest this country was founded on Christianity, and then when you look at how this country was founded, you're like, really? That's Christianity? I don't see it. I don't see it. It says in the Bible, life doesn't start until your first breath. Does it really say that? Wow. It says in the Bible, life doesn't start until your first breath. That would be pro-choice talk there, because the pro-life people say it starts in the womb. That's interesting. The Lord didn't preach religion. I don't, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, there's no way in hell the Bible would have been written without some errors. When you think about how it had to come about, there's no way. I don't see it. Abortion is in the Jewish Bible. Huh. Anyhow, folks, you guys know what I got to do. I do got to step away. It is dinner time. It is supper time. I got to get my ass back indoors. I might get back on later. I'll probably be closing my whole warehouse in the United States because of the tariffs. Ace Ventura, where are you at? I thought you were in America. What country have the tariffs been officially imposed, or are they still in threat mode? It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. Wow. Wow, that's pretty fucking deep. The price of eggs haven't dropped, and day one has long passed. I don't think it ever was about the price of eggs. It just wasn't. People bought the okie doke. It wasn't about reducing the price of eggs. It was about doing other shit. And if you can get cheaper eggs in the process, so be it. Oh, you're on the Texas border. Well, I mean, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of interesting shit down there. The military's now in your region, huh? Wow. You'd be an interesting caller to talk to about all that, because Trump has really stepped. I mean, they got, what do you call the planes where the propellers can go up? What is that called? It's a VSTOL aircraft. The Osprey. I think it's called the Sea Osprey. I mean, they have a huge crash rate. It's illegal for the president to fly in those planes, but they can go from airplane to helicopter mode. Got these really big propellers. They got those flying around down there on the southern border. The Osprey. Yeah, Sea Osprey is what it's called. V2. Yeah, all of those names are correct. They got those flying around down there. It's illegal for the president to be flown in that, because the crash rate for those things is so damn high. I fly remote control a lot of remote control planes. I got a lot of jets and stuff like that. I've been dying to get one of those, but the computer and the mechanics of it, they're pretty expensive. FYI, Navy pays normal fees to use a canal. An average of $500,000 to $1 million a ship. That sounds probably more like what I was expecting. I couldn't imagine the entire U.S. Navy shipping through the canal for only $1 million. But he said it. I want to look it up myself now too. But if I have to guess, I think, Mina, what you're saying is probably closer to being correct than him saying $1 million annually. That ain't shit anymore. I mean, for the maintenance and all of the work, you got to use tugboats, because when the ships go through the Panama Canal, they're not allowed to do so under their own power. So all the tugboats, all the energy to get them, $1 million a year doesn't seem like a lot of money anymore. That just didn't seem right. That didn't seem right. I'll look it up though. Still crazy. They trolling a ship full of tomahawks. Like, what are you gonna do if we don't pay? Yeah. And that's what Trump is starting to do. Trump is starting to come across like mob, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Either you do what I say, or I'm gonna use force on you, which makes America look like a bully. But that is what he's doing. Is he's going to these. I always use the example, like the pizzeria that opens up in New York. You're making good money, and a mob boss comes in there and says, from now on, 10% of your profits kick back to me. I'd hate for something to happen to your pizzeria. And it's like, what do? You can't stop him. He'll burn your whole damn shop down. So I got to give him 10%. Ain't nothing else I can do. If I call the cops are on this payroll, and they'll kill me for snitching. So if I want to maintain a business, I got to pay them 10%. That's what Trump is trying to do. Either you give us access to the Panama Canal in the form of cheaper shipping costs, which is the 10%, give us a discount for our ships going through. I'd hate to see something happen to your canal, like you no longer owning it. I mean, what he's doing is kind of like a mob boss. Either you do what I say, or I'm going to forcefully take it from you. Now, I know a lot of MAGA like it. But it is what it is. Bro, you ain't getting nothing. It's true. Well, we'll see. Panama can't stop Trump. If Trump want to use the military, Panama ain't shit they can do. Anyhow, folks, I got to step away. It's your boy, Tim, the Handsome Liberal. Follow the program. I got to step away.